Hello and welcome to the Computer Game Show. My name's David Turner and I'm here with James Farley,
Hello.
Sean Bell,
Hello.
and a last minute decision to skip out on the show. Matt Murray is not here, so it is just a three-man show today, which we've not done for a long time. But the thing is that usually we get a guest in, but it really was last minute, wasn't it? Matt's not very well. Nor am I really, but I think he's a few days behind me. Thursday last week, I was in bed all day. It was nuts.
Not bad.
Honestly, I genuinely thought I had COVID last week, and I was testing like loads, and you could probably still hear it in my voice a little bit. I'm still rough, but not as bad, not as bad as I was. But yeah, it's weird. There's a lot going around at the moment, Sean. You'll catch it.
I've had a bit of one, but it's like
you've had a bitter one.
I've had a bit of one, yeah. But it's like the first time I've been like even slightly ill for quite a few months now.
Yeah, same here. It's been I've had good innings, and then I come down with
Good
this
streak.
How about you, James? How's the old viruses doing the rounds in Germany at the moment?
It's fine. I'm fine. Yeah. I'm fine, and that's all that matters, really. So it's okay.
Fair enough.
Was there a sort of acclimatization period? Because you can get it, going from like one region of the UK to another. Suddenly, it turns out they've all got different variants of the common cold. Was that a thing when you first moved to Germany, or were you just
No, because we were in lockdown.
invincible? Oh, of course, yeah. Jesus.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Quarantine. I see we've got a little guest presenter stepping in now, Sean. Look. Bottom of your screen, bottom corner of your camera. Don't know if that's made the cut
sorry,
of the thing.
that's the dog.
Just still poking their heads up in the middle.
Yeah.
Sorry, we're not supposed to be referencing it. We're a podcast.
As long as we explain it and it's not just constantly
do
just going, oh, that's
apologise.
one thing. If you only see that if you watch on Twitch.
Well, this is it. I don't think we've actually properly spoken about this on the actual podcast, but you can watch this show now for free every Monday night from about 8:45 in the evening, British summertime, until that changes. You can watch us on twitch.tv/TCGSco. So make sure you're about Monday nights and join the chit chat. We've got a bunch of people in the chat. We don't really talk about the chat because obviously this is a podcast, not necessarily a live show. But everyone in the chat, they just talk amongst themselves, slag us off. They do what they want.
Correct us, and we just don't mention it. We just let it roll. It's fine.
We're all for it. We're all for it, Sean. But we can't really start the show this week without mentioning the Patreon producers for this month. They are the Full Nels crew: Aaron Patrick, the QuickBooks chap; Simon Nelson; Jack Oven; Moomin Biscuit; Trans Rights are Human Rights; Dave Ernsberger; Colin Brown; Gazman; Happy Birthday Sam and Neil; Gabsy; Rocketman76; Rex Reese; Happy New Year Sam; Love from Neil; Grey Dragon Claw; Fred Fenge; Smooth Monkey; Don Whiskerando; friend of the show, Colin Smith; and Richard Sawyer. They all went full Nels, so you can go full Nels too by going to patreon.com/TCGS. Various different tiers there. That £4.50 tier, mate, you get a bonus show. You get Marvel calls a week early. Loving that. The
It's
next
been really
one
nice. Like I know, like obviously I've had access to the whole run, but it's nice just listening to it week by week as it comes out.
Which was the last one you listened to? Did you listen to the 4 one?
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I've not updated that in the doc, have I? Sorry. Everything's falling apart because Matt's not here. But yeah, it's
it's Captain America next for our Patreon subscribers. That was a neat. That's probably where it starts where the series starts going, isn't it, James? That's where Marvel Cool starts taking off. Was Captain America episode.
It was the one I was most nervous about doing with you.
Really?
And, yeah.
Okay, well, don't let them know how that went.
Because I'm interested to hear like what Dave thinks of Captain America, but I'm also really interested to hear why. Because James really likes Captain America, and that doesn't strike me as a particularly James Farley opinion to have.
A lot. Over the series of the films, we talk about James's attraction to Captain America a lot. And here's the crazy thing, because I listened to the Thor episode. It's a bit of a spoiler for people that are not subbed. But there was a bit in it where I said, I just watched the Captain America trailer. I didn't know it was set in World War II.
That's right.
It's not until now that I know, no, that's the whole fucking thing, you idiot. Like that's the whole point. But honestly, I had no idea. That was it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool getting to that point. But if you go for the next tier up, then you get to watch the bonus show. When we record that, we put the VOD up. That's the cool way of saying it, isn't it? The VOD.
Are they still called those?
Video on demand, isn't it? That's what it stands for.
Okay.
Why wouldn't they? What do you mean? Do they still call them those? Like in the 80s, they were saying you can watch the VOD if you want.
No, but it sounds like a very sort of like, I don't know, mid 2000s like thing. Like, I don't know.
It does seem like an unnecessary term because, like, basically all
just a
videos
video,
on
isn't it?
demand, right? Like, yeah.
Well, nowadays it is, yeah.
But I guess it's just to differentiate from a live stream, right?
Yeah, it's just shut up. Fucking hell. Shut up, James. You can
out of date,
still talking. And of course you get to watch Le Tournoi. We are all on. Is it tenterhooks? It's tenterhooks, right?
Yeah.
Kind of. I'm still working out the scoring system as we go.
Right. Okay. I don't even want to talk about the scoring system. That's not why we're on tenterhooks. We're on tenterhooks because Matt hasn't named his game yet, and I don't know what the fuck he's going to suggest.
And to be clear, this isn't him doing it for dramatic purposes. He says he's just got literally no idea.
Yeah.
But this is the whole point of this, right? What I was trying to achieve with the whole Le Tournoi thing was that
isn't it?
is that we choose something that we thought we were good at or whatever, and that then we could challenge the others.
I know, but but that's not really what I want to do. Because if that was
it,
it,
that's not your tournament.
Right? Okay, all right. If that's what you want from us, then I will pick Rocket League.
Exactly, you can pick Rocket League. That's fine.
But I don't want to because I'll smash the shit out of all of you. And where's the fun in that?
Because the fun is then I don't know, but no, there is fun
this
there.
Is it. You don't even know what your own fucking competition is.
No, because the thing is, if we're all picking something we think we're good at, it'll all even out as the time goes on.
Yeah, but to be fair, James, you were robbed of that opportunity because we just sort of made fucking Switch Sports your choice.
Yeah, that's true. I'm waiting for Matt to just go Red Dead Redemption. Go. Okay, James, try and turn that into a competitive game.
It's got online competitive stuff. It's not very good.
Yeah. But let's see how that goes then.
Imagine if it's too good an idea. I don't want to say it now.
Go on.
If we did Red Dead, but it was literally just like, right, have a race from one end of the map to the other.
That is amazing, actually. Where you've just got to get from because they did that, wasn't that? That was a mode in Grand Theft Auto, wasn't it? Online.
Was it?
Yeah,
I suppose you could just set it up, couldn't you?
I'm pretty sure GTA 5 Online, it was you'll start here and you've got to get to this point in the map. You can rob cars, you can get helicopters, you do whatever you want, but you got to get from point A to point B. I am sure that was a game mode in Grand Theft Auto. Someone will correct us, but it was amazing. I remember it being amazing. Maybe it was only in GTA 4, but I remember loving that. Anyway, right, okay, so that's the Patreon stuff. Sorted. Before we get to the feedback, I've got some notes on last week's podcast, which was brilliant. Okay,
thank you.
Yeah, I mean,
because I'll be honest, I was a bit anxious because until this morning there was no feedback in the on the form, like
zero feedback,
not a sausage. And the ones we have got are just like, I've got some more dreams for you. So this is a bit like, oh God, did we either put out something absolutely flawless or really shit?
Yeah,
absolutely flawless.
No, it was completely just absolutely spot on. There was nothing needs to be said.
Yeah.
Well, Sean LeBode and Sarah are absolutely fantastic. So it's always good having them on. But here we go. TCGS notes is what I got written down. Chen not liking the spray sound in PowerWash. James,
yeah, it's true.
Did you know you can adjust the pitch of the washer in the menu?
Can you?
Really? Didn't know that.
How good is that?
Because
I was like, I said, I remember playing it with John once and just going, the spray sound's getting on my nerves a bit. So do you know you could just change the tone of that so it's like not as high pitched anymore? And I was like, let me do that. Makes such a big difference. It's so good, and you can turn it down. You can adjust all that. So James, download it again, go through those menus, change it, and get it sorted.
Not going to download it again.
Okay, let me get to the end of this before anyone jumps in. I'm just going to read word for word what I wrote down.
What this is about.
Yeah.
James just fucking lies now. In quotes, this is the point I was trying to make to David. Yes, it is stealth, but you can avoid it if you want to. End quote. No, the point you made was that it wasn't a stealth section. You absolute bullshit artist. He then said, "quote They did design this they did design this as stealth, clearly." End quote. It's incredible how much he helped his reputation with the button layout argument, and he completely destroyed what he's gained with this. James, why have you done that? Why have you just lied?
Okay, it's not lying necessarily. It's because it was listen to me, right? It was an evolving argument, you see. So what it was to begin with, you were like, to begin with, you were like, I didn't like it when it got to the stealth.
No, that's not what I said. I said it's a shame that they felt they needed to do a stealth section.
Okay, so it's a shame that they needed to do a stealth section.
And what did you say
my
after
argument
that?
to that was...
No. What did you say when I first said that? What was your response?
Okay, so my original response was, it's not stealth.
Right, okay, there we go.
I'm admitting I said that. But as this is an evolving argument, the point I was trying to make from this was that
argument. That was the argument.
It's an evolving argument with, the parameters sometimes change as you're discussing something. And, as you discuss something...
The parameters change when you go, oh yeah, I was fucking bullshitting, and now I did get that wrong.
No,
just changed the parameters.
The point was that I didn't feel that it was something you should have taken the game to task over, seeing as it was an irrelevant stealth section.
I don't think it is irrelevant. I think it is a shame that it felt the need to do that, considering the exploration at the start of the game was so good. It didn't need to do the stealth stuff. That was my point, and your point was it wasn't stealth.
But they can choose to do what they want, and they presented you with a stealth section that they didn't have to.
They can choose to do what they want.
Yeah.
So that's what we do with criticisms now, is it? Oh, I didn't like this bit of the game. Well, they can choose to do what they want.
Well, no, because also...
Yeah, obviously, but...
Okay, so explain to me one more time, why did you significantly dislike the fact that they put a stealth section in there?
I said... Okay, sorry, Sean.
That's all right.
But there's a couple of things. There's a couple of points I want to make. Firstly, the arguments... I'm not... I thought it was a shame that they felt they needed to do it, because I don't think they needed to do it. Right? I think if they did maybe a third exploration section, that would have been more in keeping with the rest of the game, and it would have played to the game's strengths. That you'd agree that the best part of that game is the opening part in the slums, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I was disappointed that they felt that they need to go down to traditional gameplay mechanics that they really didn't need to do. They could have done what they did again and expanded on it. So that was why I was kind of disappointed with that section. Secondly, you literally said it wasn't a stealth section. So I mean, shut the fuck up. And what also cracks me up is the fact that you do all this in front of people that have heard you. Like Sean was there when you said it.
As I said, it was an evolving argument.
That's not how argument. It was an evolving argument. You can't evolve an argument because you fucked up.
Of course you can. You can start to look at it from different perspectives.
You swat.
No. When you're discussing something, new information comes to light, and then you start to change the way you look at things.
If you acknowledge the new information. What was the new information that came to light, James, that made you say, "Oh no, it is a stealth section"? What was the new information?
The new information was learning the way that you felt about stealth, and then me explaining to you that it didn't matter because you can avoid it anyway.
Okay,
it makes from last week's sections irrelevant.
They did design this as stealth, clearly.
Yeah. I know. Didn't say. I'm not denying they did that.
Sure.
I'm saying it doesn't matter.
Sure, he's fucked it.
Yeah, you're changing it again, James.
He's fucked it now, isn't he?
I told you, it's an evolving argument.
No, you don't get to decide whether it's an evolving argument.
Of course I do. I'm a participant in the argument, so I'm allowed to discuss the way it's looking.
James, right, listen. Every now and then, you hold your hands up and go, "Yeah, I was kind of wrong. I don't know what I was talking about." That's all you got to do. And then you go, we've all been there, mate. You're going to stand by your original argument.
I'm not standing... No, because...
So apologise
with this,
and we'll move on.
I'm not apologising because there's nothing to apologise for.
Well, you've turned this into a whole big thing. It's 4 weeks now.
I'm not the one who's turned this into a big thing. You're the one who's got really upset that I disagreed with you.
Because
and then keep bringing it up, and then keep bringing it up all the time.
Mate, okay, all right. Because I was listening to the show last week, and I just thought, fucking hell, James, you're not even close to your original argument anymore, is it? Not even close. It was like the whole thing where you turned around and said, "Oh, the demo's more than one planet that you visit in Andromeda. It's more than one planet. Is it? How many planets have you visited to? One?"
I can't really believe that you still remember that.
Okay, here we go. I do agree with James, however, regarding the reduced price for the headset. This is the Oculus headset. Meta are getting the data anyway. Also, fuck them if they're like, give us your data or we'll make things more expensive. Because that's what I'm saying. The discussion went into actually a subsidized thing, or having the option of paying more so that they don't collect your data. I'd be interested in that. No, fuck that, because that's not the way they're selling it. They're like, give us your fucking data, otherwise we'll make this more expensive. Horrible way of doing business. Fucking Meta. Ugh. Right, okay. Sarah's saying that her stepdad was a Freemason, but her stepdad told her that it's really boring. Really, nothing really happens. Well, he would say that, wouldn't he? He's not going to tell.
That is a good point. So, yeah, I'm part of the Illuminati, but honestly, it's just like we just go for dinner and stuff. It's you wouldn't be interested.
Just standing outside the door of the meeting. Just go home. There's nothing going on in there. I promise. We're just playing
darts and stuff like that.
Honestly, you'd hate it. You would absolutely hate it. Honestly, it's just.
Yeah, it's like when I've got a big old bag of M&Ms in the fridge, and Harry goes, "What's those?" Coffee drops. Right, okay. James hates saying, in quotes, they should have done what David said. Why, please? Right, James? Oh, right, you hate saying they should have... Right, you were talking about a game, and you said, I hate saying this, but they should have done what David said. That's what you said. Why do you hate saying that? Why?
Because I hate giving you, like, any credit for stuff.
Why?
Because you'd never give me credit for anything, so why should I give you credit?
I think you're brilliant. I constantly call you my favourite person on the face of the planet.
Yeah, sarcasm. The whole thing is
sarcasm. That's not sarcastic. You are genuinely one. Right, okay. Taking my wife out of the equation, and my kids out of the equation, and my parent... No, not my parents. You're my favourite person on the planet, James Farley.
Only because you like to just torment me with stuff.
No.
That's the only reason.
No. It's your face. I like your face.
I mean, who doesn't love that?
Exactly. I like you. I like your attitude.
Recently, yeah.
You I beg pardon?
Nothing.
Okay. Anyway, they're my notes. But I enjoyed last week's show. I just wish that James wouldn't fucking lie so much. That's your only negative thing about you, James. You're liar. You're a liar, and it's such a shame.
It's just, I mean, I don't want to get back into this, but it's just,
No, don't. Because it expose more lies.
Arguments
dig
evolve,
up more lies.
They change over time. You look at different perspectives.
Proper, just outright lying. It's like, I can make these jokes now. It was like Obi-Wan Kenobi saying, "Well, I didn't lie. It was from another point of view."
Well, exactly.
I was telling the truth from a certain point of view.
You're proving my point
you
there.
fucking lied.
You're proving my point there. I mean, that's a very good example.
Look, listen to him. He doesn't even believe the bullshit that rolls out of his mouth these days.
He's halfway through the sentence. He's like, "Can I say this?"
No, that's a good. Really, if you. Because
let's move on to listener feedback.
Okay, let's get on to listener feedback. They all love it last week, did they?
Well, no one really said. They've just sent more dreams in. So we've got this one from RDC. He says, "Hi lads, on the subject of weird dreams, I thought I would send in one I had recently. For reasons unknown, Sean was showing me around a village and I spotted someone campaigning for a political party. He then shows me into a building which has a strange mix of rooms. We go through a bedroom, then into an office, and finally stop in a lecture theatre.
Whoa,
yeah.
That's a layout, isn't it?
I was going to say,
What, you first walk in to a bedroom?
Yeah. And then an office, and then a lecture theatre. I mean, there's some analysis required there, I think.
Maybe someone is like continuously giving lectures, and every now and then they've got to go through to their office, sign out, and then go to bed for a bit, and then wake up and go back. Yeah, go on.
I mentioned to Sean about the person campaigning for the political party and how I'd feel politically homeless. Sean turns to me and says if I feel this way, there is definitely someone I should meet. I turn around again, and there is a woman standing there from a party called Vox Polly. She tells me that their main manifesto pledges to remove words from the dictionary as there are too many, and the words rainfall and particle have only been around for 4 years. As I'm trying to work out what the hell I'm listening to, I look around for Sean, but by this point he is nowhere to be seen. Cheers, Sean. Keep up the great work. P.S. Thanks for the Xenoblade 3 chat. It made my week.
Dreams are the best.
Yep.
Vox Polly. I mean,
is that not just because
obviously
there was the Vox Populi in Bioshock Infinite? So I guess they've like misheard or misheard that.
Maybe. But definitely vote for them because there are too many words in the dictionary.
Do you reckon? I mean, who could possibly remember them all at this point?
No, you just need the funny ones like nipple. You don't need all the others. Look at Sean's little face there, laughing, giggling away at the word nipple. It's a good one, isn't it? It's a good one.
I'm doing me stream tech shit at the same time. All right, so just don't read my face.
I can't. Right. So you just didn't find me funny then?
No, I did, but it was just I don't know. My brain was doing several things, and maybe a bit of amusement on my face just sort of hung for longer
than intended.
Yeah.
Here we go. Here's a question then. James Farley, if you could remove a word from the English language, what would it be?
Oh, probably something recent.
The word recent?
No, it's in like there's loads of stuff now that really annoys me when I hear it. There's loads of like new words that really annoy me.
Yeah,
VOD's an acronym though. That doesn't count.
It is an acronym.
Xbox.
Yeah.
That's what it'd be, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that one. Yeah,
we should just say people in the chat. This is meant to be James's job, but it doesn't matter. People in the chat are pointing out the Vox Populi is Latin, which literally means voice of the people.
Oh wow!
So
okay, wow. We've got a very intelligent person there. Yeah. So come on, a word that you've removed, James. Come on.
Okay, I don't even know if it's a word. Is chillax a word?
Let's see if
it's a portmanteau, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I don't know if that counts. Do portmanteaus get their own dictionary entries? I imagine they do.
Yeah.
How about just chill?
No, it just like there's loads of new words that come out all the time, and sometimes they're just really irritating.
By the same token, James, what about guesstimate? It's a favourite of mine.
Yeah, that's
it's one of the other guys. Come on.
Yeah, hold on. Yeah, no, but isn't an estimate? Well, I suppose it's a little bit more than a guess.
My understanding is that an estimate is based on like some evidence.
Yeah, data. Yeah.
A guess is not.
Yeah. Guesstimate. Yeah, one or the other. That's a good shout. That's a good shout, Sean.
Yeah.
Like that. Okay, right. Okay, next.
The next one comes from Neil P. Says, I, like many, am in the habit of listening to podcasts in bed and falling asleep, and I often drift off to TCGS in the early hours. This tends to trigger TCGS streams of two kinds. One, I'm a guest on the show, but none of you are listening to a word I say, and you just ignore me. Oh Christ, it's too big for the stream layout, never mind. It's gone off the screen. Two, I'm listening to the show on a speaker at work. Everyone is asking me to turn it off, and I can't. I was catching up with recent episodes a few days ago and fell asleep to episode 311. I was having the dream where I was a guest on the show and we were all sat in my kitchen, and that's when things took a sinister turn. I got up from the kitchen and went into my recently renovated hallway, brackets, with new oak staircase, to find that someone had jet washed the hallway and completely ruined it. Paint stripped off the walls, staircase gouged, floor soaked. I was furious, and I went back into the kitchen to confront you all and demand to know who'd done this. You all denied it and blamed the American actor Mark Ruffalo. I was having none of this and screamed and shouted for the real culprit to come forward. No response. I then pulled a kitchen knife out and waved it in Sean's face and asked, one more time. Luckily, the dream dissolved.
This got serious out of nowhere, didn't it?
It did, yeah. Luckily, the dream dissolved at that point, and I awoke with considerable relief that my hallway was intact, and I was not going to be facing a police charge of threatening behaviour or worse. I'm a 52-year-old man who avoids conflict and have never even been in a fight, let alone threatened someone like the lovely Sean with a knife.
I'd like the fact that he went for you as well.
Yeah. I'd like to apologise to Sean for the threats. You would be the last one of the gang I'd pull a knife on. Brackets, I'd always imagined the first would be David. Thanks in advance, and I love you all.
Okay, we are forwarding that to the police now. It's funny because there's so many elements of the show in this dream. It's unreal, isn't it? So Mark Ruffalo, obviously, we've been talking about Marvel stuff. You got the power washing going on there. You've also got Sean being, least threatening.
Yep.
So straight up to him with a knife.
Yep.
Love that. Love that. It was definitely me that power washed your hallway, 100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that it for the feedback?
That is it for the feedback.
Let's get to the news then. What is this? Our news hound, James Farley.
Racing through.
Yeah.
Oh, we are. Shit, 25 minutes. Oh, no. What are we going to do?
What do you mean?
Matt's going to be so angry. He's going to be like, hold on, we haven't hit our quota. There's not a quota. Yeah,
all
but
right.
we've got to,
He loves
man.
it. He loves length, doesn't he?
Go.
I wasn't even, didn't even mean it like that, but, whatever.
Yeah, that's added. Go on.
Okay, so here's the news. Nintendo have been hit by a new worker complaint in the US. So Nintendo of America and Aston Carter, that's the company that Nintendo uses for hiring people, has been referred to the National Labour Relations Board. And this is over allegations of what are called coercive rules. So this is where basically like companies interfere in your right to do stuff like unionize or discuss working conditions and stuff like that, like outside. And there's no further details on this case at the moment, but there was a case like earlier this year when a worker was fired, and then Nintendo responded to that saying that they were fired because they'd leaked confidential information and it was nothing else to do. There was nothing else they'd done wrong or whatever. So relating to this is Nintendo's quote. They've said Nintendo is not aware of any attempts to unionize or related activity and intends to cooperate with the investigation conducted by the NLRB.
Okay, all right. That was it. So can I just say that read that first sentence again?
Okay. Nintendo is not aware of any attempts to unionize or related activity.
Okay, that's not the accusation, right? The accusation is that they're trying to... Oh, right, so they're trying to say we don't need to stop it.
Because no one's trying to.
Because no one's trying to.
No one's doing this. They love us.
Yeah, but you don't start with your defence of doing this. Going, they're not trying to unionize.
Unionize? Who's mentioned unionize? I didn't.
That's potentially the problem.
You brought it up, not me.
Yeah. Go on.
So it said Nintendo is fully committed to providing a welcoming and supporting work environment for all our employees and contractors. We take matters of employment very seriously. Yeah.
And yet they're not, But yeah, like they say, they're not going to say like, oh, if anyone was trying to unionize, like, fine. They won't specifically say that.
No.
But yeah.
No, of course they don't, because this is the last thing they want.
Yeah.
It's the last thing they want. That's nuts, really, isn't it? As a statement, weird. It often blows my mind how these go through lawyers and PR firms and all that sort of stuff. These statements, it's often how it blows my mind how easy they are to pick apart.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'm assuming because so much of the focus is on how do we make ourselves, how do we tiptoe around language, right? And then what spits out at the end of it is something that's so stupid that you're kind of like, hold on, fucking read that back. What the fuck are they even trying to say?
It's the art of trying to say as little as possible
I was going to say,
really.
Is this, like you were saying, there's so many people that this will have had to have gone through before it was published. But then, is that not the problem? It goes through so many people, and everyone takes out any suggestion of actually saying something, and you end up with just this grey blob that just doesn't
this meaningless nonsense. Weird, isn't it?
Very
weird.
I mean, we'll probably find out more later, won't we, after the case comes to light. But yeah, at the moment there's very little detail, so there you go.
Yep.
All right. Next story is that this is all about the Activision Blizzard merging with Microsoft thing, and obviously around the world, different countries are taking looking at whether this is legal or not, whether it's possible for it to be taking place. And Brazil in particular has been looking at this very recently, and this massive document's come out which details all of the arguments for and all the arguments against and that kind of thing. So basically what's happened this week is that it's focused on Call of Duty, and Microsoft have argued that it wouldn't be profitable to make Call of Duty just only single platform, that it would only be on Xbox.
Yeah, it's something we said at the time, isn't it? It's too much money to leave on the table. You know.
And they basically argue that if they were to do exclusivity, they would have to grow the install base to compensate for the losses that they'd lose from from the PlayStation thing, and that's basically just not feasible. There's no way they're going to be able to do that.
There will always be that percentage of people that will not want to buy an Xbox, play it on Xbox, especially now that we're deep into, or we're a year or two into this generation. There's always going to be those people. They've got a PS5, they're not going to buy an Xbox. even if you make it exclusive. So it's just wasted, a sale there. I think they'd be mad to make it exclusive. I also think they'd be mad not to put it straight to Game Pass, which I'm assuming they're going to do.
This is what I'm assuming that's what they're going to do. Like, it will go straight to Game Pass, all that stuff, which gives them a massive competitive advantage in the sense that, like, you're like, why? I mean, like, now, why would I ever pick it up on PlayStation? Like, there's no reason.
No, if you've got both consoles, then of course.
But, it means Microsoft still gains, an advantage for their platform, but without like actively punishing PlayStation fans, right? Like if you're, because like obviously one of the main risks of making it, Xbox exclusive is that obviously the tens of millions of Call of Duty fans that play on PlayStation, like they wouldn't be like, oh well, I guess I'd better buy an Xbox. I mean, some of them would, but I imagine a lot of them would just be like, well, fuck Xbox then. Like that's like it would just be seen as so anti-consumer that I think it would just galvanize people against Xbox rather than making them think, well, fuck it, I'll get an Xbox.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit different from some other games where they've done this or where Sony have done this. Because it's so established. And the sheer size of it, and I think it is interesting that the sort of demographic that they've got, the target demographic they go for. A lot more. You meet a lot of people that just buy Call of Duty on their consoles. That's it. Maybe one other game, and that's what I'm going to find really interesting. So those people that do have an Xbox and their only game is Call of Duty, are they going to be getting Game Pass, or are they still just going to buy the game?
Is the thing, because for Game Pass to be profitable, they're the people that it needs to reach, aren't they? Like, because
then
we're all sub to Game Pass, being like, oh, this is amazing, I'm paying $10 a month and getting loads of games that would have cost me more than that.
Yeah,
you actually need to get some people in who were spending a lot less.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because that's
the thing. The benefit of I pay £70, or if I pay like 10-20 quid more on this website and get Game Pass Ultimate for a year, well then I get that game, and then I also get hundreds of other games that I can try out, including, as you say, the range of games on there. There's a load of games for even down to toddlers on there now. You've got racing games, you've got other sports games with the FIFA and all that sort of shit on there. It's pretty. It's going to be interesting to see how many people that converts over to Game Pass. But I think they'd be mad to make it exclusive, I think.
I mean, and also part of the thing about this though is that Sony have been arguing that Call of Duty is a special case as well. That it's something which is separate from other Activision Blizzard games. So the quote from this is, they said Sony's implicit concerns about the content exclusivity is that Activision Blizzard, and this is unwarranted, and that Microsoft's incentives are to continue making Activision Blizzard games available on rival consoles. So they still want to do this. And Microsoft responded saying that in reality, not only is Call of Duty not a category of games per se, but it also faces strong competition from close quarters from games of multiple genres and types. Yeah. So Sony are trying to argue that it's like Call of Duty is its own thing. It's like an entire genre, basically. And Microsoft are like, no. It's not.
Yeah, no, I don't agree with that at all. I don't agree with that at all. Especially, you can't really say that at this point where every single year, I know it still does amazingly well, but every single year it's the stories about how fewer and fewer people are buying the thing.
Although it's still like millions of people.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Okay.
Following on from this, Microsoft have also claimed that Sony is paying developers like blocking rights to keep games off Xbox Game Pass. So this is part of the allegation.
What context did they bring this up? Because of course they are. Like, what was the context? Do you know?
So this is part of this Brazilian government investigation, and it's part of this document that was released. And so the quote is this. So they said that Sony, the use of exclusive arrangements has been at the heart of Sony's strategy to strengthen its presence in the gaming industry. And so they argue that Sony's fears are kind of ridiculous because they're dominant in the industry, and so this doesn't. This doesn't work. This argument that that they're doing this, as a sort of a self-defense because they're too far ahead for that to matter.
I just that's just good business on Sony's part, isn't it?
I mean, it's going back to. I mean, Nintendo did the same thing. Like during the NES era, they stopped other people from releasing things on other consoles, but they went even further because they were like, if you wanted to develop for NES, you weren't allowed to develop for other
fine,
machines.
but listen to what you just said.
Mm-hmm.
They're paying developers not to release their games on other platforms.
Mm-hmm.
That's exclusivity. That's the game, right? That's been the game since day one.
Mm.
Well, no, they're not. They're paying for them not to be exclusive. It seems.
Sorry.
Wait, what?
They're paying for them not to. Okay, so Sony are paying the developers not to release stuff on Game Pass, so that it gets released on other stuff as well.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So it's exclusivity. All right, they're saying you can still release it on Xbox.
Yeah, just
but
not on Game Pass.
We're seeing Game Pass now as its own platform, and it gets spoken about as its own platform because you've got to remember, PC, Xbox, it's the cloud shit. It feels like its own platform, and if Sony's tactic is to get exclusive right or block them releasing it on that service, that just makes sense to me. I don't see that. It's a bit shitty, but then so's all exclusive deals, aren't they?
But it reminds me a bit of like when the Epic Game Store first appeared, and a lot of people were like, "Yeah, do you know what? Like, Steam's great, but some competition would probably be healthy at this point. Like, Steam's just been dominant for so many years now. Like, something should challenge it, probably.
Yeah.
Like, it's probably quite a good thing." But then it turned out all Epic were really doing to challenge Steam was just giving developers tons of money to put their games for free on the Epic Store. And that was the only, among like us and people we know, like that was the only time we ever heard the Epic Store talked about. It was like, oh, like this game's free this week. And it was like, that's not like healthy like market competition. That's just one company having a shitload of money they can just throw away on it and not actually producing something better or like something that is actually competitive. They're just chucking money at the problem, and this feels a bit like that. It's like, why, like, can't the answer be that Sony just have something as good as Game Pass? Do you know what I mean? Something that actually competes with it, rather than just trying to go on. Oh yeah,
they don't have to, but then also aren't Microsoft doing the same thing because they're just chucking money at developers to put things on Game Pass?
Well, yeah,
but that's what Sean's saying, is that they're not then saying, but you can't release this on PlayStation.
Yeah. And they are,
but then,
like,
but my
in
point
doing
is,
that, Microsoft
even if they did, that is something that's been going on for years in various different forms. If you remove the idea of Game Pass from this and see it as a separate platform, so you've got releases on PlayStation, releases on Xbox, you've got Game Pass, right? If Sony are blocking or paying, they're not even blocking, right? They're not even blocking. They're making an offer of I assume a decent amount of money to not put their game on Game Pass, right? And it's anti-consumer, but fucking all of this shit's been anti-consumer. When SNES versus Mega Drive was going on, all of that shit was anti-consumer. Like, I remember people complaining at the time, why can't I play my Sonic game on the SNES? Why have I got to buy a completely new console? It's all anti-consumer. So I don't see it as any worse as what's gone on in the past. It's shitty, yeah, but everyone's been shitty in this. It's a dog-eat-dog world out there, right?
I see what.
Are you saying
Sean's
that capitalism's bad, Dave?
Because
I won't hear it on this show.
I'm not like you, mate. I fucking love it. Love it.
Would it be better if Sony were throwing money at these people to like get it so that it was on Sony's service instead of on Game Pass?
See, that's I would find that easier to swallow.
That's the. No, yeah, but hold on. Maybe
that's creating more exclusives.
Hold on, maybe that is what they're doing. That statement isn't saying that they're not doing that.
No, it just says it's to keep things off Game Pass.
Okay, right. So when you think about it, Microsoft have made that statement, right? And Microsoft are going to take a fact and twist it to make it sound as bad as humanly possible. So what if these deals are, we want you to join our service, but if you're joining our service, here's your money, but you're not allowed to join Game Pass at the same time, right? Microsoft would look at that then and say, you're paying people not to appear on Game Pass. So their statement is still true, but doing exactly what you're suggesting in the first place, James. It's all about language, and when it comes into these sort of battles, everyone's going to use that language to their advantage. You know what I mean? We don't know that that's not what's happening, is what I'm saying.
It's true. And also, I mean, do you want to hear the final quote from Microsoft about this?
Oh, is it? This is definitely what's happening. So they said,
So, I mean, they say basically that Sony fear Game Pass, and this is because it delivers high-quality content at low cost to players that will threaten the market leadership forged from a device-centric strategy and focused on exclusivity.
Okay,
Yeah.
I don't want to shut up.
Yeah.
Okay, go on.
We should say,
So-
Digifolio in the chat just made the point that like these deals do often straight up pay for game development, and like absolutely, I don't think any of us are saying like, oh, developers shouldn't be doing this. Like,
absolutely not. No,
like whatever.
It's up to them.
Yeah, like whatever gets your game made. I don't really like. And again, even with the Epic stuff, like I know some developers like really got a lot of shit from people. I think it was the developers behind like Ynglet were like, oh hey, we're Epic exclusive now, and like it was fucking awful. Like some of the stuff they got, and it's like, no man, like whatever gets your game funded, and especially in those those final stages where you a lot of developers realize they're probably falling short financially. Like it's
none of this negativity that we've been talking about is being aimed at developers in the slightest. That didn't even cross my mind, to be fair.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the last thing that came out from this was we know now how many units the Xbox One sold because Microsoft. Well, no, because the thing is Microsoft stopped reporting like how much they were selling quite a long time ago.
Okay. Yeah.
And I think that's because it probably didn't do so great. But then we know now that they sold like roughly half the number of PS4s, and so that would mean that they sold about 50 to 60 million machines.
It's not massively surprising. That was the figures that were being rumored anyway, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's about the right amount. And I mean, the 360 sold 85.8 million, so that's quite a drop. Like they lost about 20 million people from that. I mean, does that all go down to the original launch?
Yeah, absolutely. That original console was dog shit. And even with the S, the 1S, that wasn't that great. It was better, wasn't that great. They didn't come out with a competitive console until the series, until the 1X, and that was legitimately, in my opinion, that was a better console than the PS4 Pro.
Like, definitely,
the PS4 Pro was kind of shit in hindsight, right?
Yeah, it was a massive letdown, right? It was a massive letdown, that console. However, the damage was way before then. People were already invested in the PS4. Like I was playing most of my games on the Xbox when I got a 1X because that's where my friends were playing, right? And even when I come to the choice of a PS4 Pro or a 1X, I got the PS4 Pro. And, that's probably the worst decision I've ever made. I should never have bought that thing. But I did because I was heavily invested in PlayStation. And let's face it, you put the Xbox One next to the PS4. I mean, it's no contest. The PS4 was slick. It ran games really well, and it looked. I mean, that console looks great. Like I still love the design of PS4.
Yeah.
So they were way behind it. It's not a massive surprise. But the good thing is that they bought that 1X out, and you go, okay, they're doing something now. And I think that's sort of the continuity through to series consoles pretty good as well.
And now you've got, I mean, Game Pass to me feels like this is like a move away. I mean, it's a move away from devices to software, and that's the main focus.
That's the focus, yeah.
And it makes complete sense
because that's been
Microsoft's job.
Yeah. It's what they've always been good at over over hardware stuff. Yeah.
I mean, it's mad. It's mad. I was using Game Pass Ultimate to play cloud gaming. I was away for a holiday over last week, which is why I wasn't on the show last week. And I was using cloud gaming for the first time properly, and it was just mad. Just loading it up on my phone and connecting my I just bought a controller with me, had that connected to my phone, and then just sitting playing games like as if I was sitting in front of my Xbox. All right, okay, there's the slight hitch here and there, but it's quite rare. I mean, it was way smoother than I thought it would be, and the fact that it just goes, here's your save. And then when you get home, it's like, just say, there we go. It's mad how well that works.
Yeah, it really is.
I was pretty impressed with it. So, it's cool.
Okay, next story is that we had Splatoon 3 Direct this week, which, see, I kind of watched it, not the whole thing. It was, I didn't find it terribly interesting because it was basically just revealing whole time. I mean, it was just things like there's new stages, new
Yeah,
weapons.
it was
they got new
definitely
stages?
there was nothing there that would make me like go to people who don't already like Splatoon and be like, no, you gotta get this one. This is like it is just a continuation of what we've had before and an expansion of that, but it's not. Yeah, there's nothing that was like, holy shit, this is completely different. I mean, there's a card game which I'm sure James is buzzing about.
Pre-order cancelled.
When's this game out? Sorry.
It's September. It's September 9th. It's coming out.
Okay.
Yeah.
And also, before that, sort of late August, there's the first Splatfest is going to be basically that's the demo, and that's going to be out pre-release. So there'll be a weekend.
Can you play at any time, or is it like between 6 and 3 on a Tuesday afternoon?
Well, to be fair, the Splatfest that was always the case. So it was always set around like a weekend, wasn't it? I forget the exact timing. I think pretty sure it is like is it a 12 or a 24-hour window? I can't remember.
If it's a decent window, then I'll play that shit.
Yeah.
But...
I mean, obviously, yeah. So the Salmon Run stuff is still in, and I believe that is you can now play that whenever you want. Because I know that was a change they did eventually make with Splatoon 2. They did eventually just turn it on permanently, which should have always been the case, but whatever. I mean, I suppose annoyingly, the main headline from this is. We're still using the Nintendo app, guys. I mean, we're not because no one is, but
no one's using that.
You are expected to, which is just I was watching it, just thinking like, how good would it be if they were just like, oh, and we've added proper voice comms. Nope, it's all still via the app. I mean, Splatoon 2 was the one game that I did use the app a bit because you could buy like in-game stuff through the app. There was like clothes and stuff that would there'd be like a rotating selection on the app that wouldn't necessarily appear in the game, and you could buy stuff on there. That was fine. That's still in for this one, but
that's been expanded, I think, isn't it, for the third one? There's like even more stuff that you can do with the app.
I've forgotten the details. I mean, the other thing is that
exclusive clothes and stuff like that. I think it was. Cool.
Yeah. So the other thing is that Splatfests are now 3-way rather than 2. Do we need to explain? We probably need to explain the Splatfest, right? Because not everyone's going to know.
Well, so this is where they have a theme, right?
Yeah.
And it's usually like a battle between two things.
It's like a vote. It's like do you remember on the Wii? You turn up and it go, we vote, and it goes, do you like pencils or pens?
Yeah.
You go, I like pens. Pencils. It was that, and I think I had a problem with the way they did it in Splatoon 2.
Oh, really?
It started brilliantly, didn't it?
Mm.
And I think, didn't they, like everyone, like there was a good one that was ketchup versus mayonnaise, and everyone was arguing about that,
Classic.
All this sort of stuff. It's really good. And then I think by the time that I was starting to drop out, they were like really boring ones.
There was one, wasn't
up
there,
or down.
Yeah, there was one that was like, sleeping versus eating. I was like,
It's like no one really cared. How are you supposed to argue that? Like, where's the fun in arguing that?
Yeah,
there was one. It was something like left or right. It was okay, left. I think it was either left-handed or right-handed, something like that. And I just thought that's not an argument.
No,
I mean, should have gone the full thing and just done like Republican versus Democrat.
That's what you really
want. Because they have to. It is a tricky thing to do because the subject matter is always something that is basically nonsense. But it's like just enough that so I was team mayonnaise, and if someone's like, oh, I prefer ketchup, I'm like, fuck you, what's wrong with you? Mayonnaise is amazing.
It is amazing, but you don't have it on your bacon sandwich. That was my argument.
Fair point.
That was my argument.
And so it's just like I love Splatfest because it's kind of like, obviously we all know what the internet is like, and it's like Splatfest is like the only time where I've been like, oh yeah, it's like everyone has a big fight over something really pointless, but it's quite fun. And it's like a little festival, and it's like so for that weekend when this all takes place in the game, like the town is like completely transformed. It's like there's like a concert on, and like everyone's like you can draw these little like bits of graffiti, and you can say like, right, this is like a team mayonnaise post or whatever, and then it like might show up in the city when people are playing, stuff like that.
Do you know what? Right, I could have written the best direct for this. I could have written the best direct. It would have been, hello everyone, welcome to Splatoon 3 direct. First things first, you could skip all the chatter at the start when you load the game up. That's the first thing.
I think that is a thing.
Yeah, I think most of the complaints I had was sorted.
Yeah.
But second thing, you can change your weapons between rounds. You don't have to quit out of the whole fucking thing.
Yes.
Third thing, play with your friends if you want. You can now play with your friends, believe it or not. You know that little hub thing that in every other game becomes like a lobby so your mates can meet up. Yeah, we're gonna do that now on this one. We didn't do that in the last one, but you do it on this one. What else?
That is what they've done, I think, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
this has got like a much. Well, it
Fucking
appears to have a
needed
much
that. That
better like
was
lobby
terrible.
system, but it's also got all this other stuff. Like they got like lockers and stuff as well that you can like put all your gear in and customize and all that kind
That
of
was
thing.
the
and you can have,
argument,
like,
wasn't it? That was the argument at the time for the last one, where it was kind of like we didn't want people teaming up, like and really just absolutely ripping into people that were playing on their own.
It's fine.
So-
then just do 2 modes.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
Which is like
Yeah,
teams
do
one
solos
in
and
a
squads.
group. Yeah.
Squads. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's what a bizarre.
Well, this is the thing, isn't it?
They won't do
Because-
it though, Sean. They won't. This will still be crap. You know that. You're well aware of that.
And this is what has been frustrating about Splatoon, you know, as a series, is that at, like, moment to moment, it is a really interesting and like accomplished multiplayer shooter, but it's the framework around it has always suffered. So yeah, I guess I'm prepared to be annoyed by some of that stuff. So like you say, it's just that ease of joining your mates, isn't it? That is the thing that has held it back.
That was a nightmare.
Um,
That was a nightmare. It's so weird, like how it's so weird how other consoles. I'm sure it's the same with Sony as well, but with the Xbox, if I'm playing a game, I'll get a boom party invite, boom. Let's play this game. You hold down one button and you're in that game in a party, and you're launching within about 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And you're matchmaking within about 10 seconds, and you just think, oh my god! Like when you go to a Nintendo console after that, it's like, what's your code? No, not that code. The code for this specific game.
It's the fact you
I
can't
still
even
get
send
this, like,
invites.
doing
can
the
you? Like,
doing like the Sea of Friends stuff, and like every time I have someone new, and I'll just be like, right, I've made the boat, and they'll be like, oh, do I not need an invite? And it's like, no. Like I've already set it to like friends only. It's like, yeah, just find me in your friends list and go, yes, hello.
Yeah,
And do that, please.
just
Whoosh,
jump on.
you're in. Like,
Yeah, it's nuts, isn't it? It's nuts.
Yeah.
But there you go. Let's see. I mean, we're not going into all the details about the director for a single
it was
game. But
half an hour long.
yeah,
It's half an hour. I mean, the only other thing they talked about is there's going to be a lot of updates for this, like going through the next 2 years, including what they called large-scale paid DLC is happening as well. So presumably
they're going to
expansions
try and monetize it, aren't they? If there was an E3 this year, this would have been the last half an hour of their direct at E3. I think.
Absolutely, 100%. I mean,
Oh,
or
God,
it would
imagine
have
that.
been most of the direct, like just and it would have infuriated everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Okay. Last story is about Netflix.
But can I just say before you read the story out, this is the least surprising news story you will ever hear in your life. Go on.
Okay, so this is about Netflix and about their games that they've released, and it turns out that less than 1% of Netflix subscribers play its games on a daily basis.
Right.
It's
Listen,
Go on.
Netflix is like proper mainstream, right? Like loads of people got Netflix. Like it's like I would like to call myself a hardcore gamer, Sean.
Yeah.
I'd like to refer to myself as a
I like
hardcore
to call you
gamer.
that,
Dave. On internet forums,
Yeah.
on Facebook.
Yeah, I find people slagging you off, and I'm like, actually, I think you'll find David's a hardcore gamer.
Good.
Leave him alone.
Good. Thank you. I mean, I can't imagine that story's true because who's slagging me off? but thanks anyway. Here's the thing. Anytime James goes, oh, that's on the Netflix service, I go, oh yeah, what? Fucking hell. Well, they do that, don't they? That's weird. And then when I listened, you mentioned it on a show that I wasn't on recently, and I think it was Matt went, oh yeah, how do you get to that? Oh, you sort of go, you download the game and then you go, but you access it through the Netflix app.
No, you just you go on the Netflix app. There's a games section at the bottom, and then it shows them all. And then you tap on one of those, and then it takes you to like the Play Store.
And then you log
Or it's
into
just
the
in
thing.
the App Store.
and then
like
it
on
behaves like
iOS.
any other app.
Here's the
after that,
thing:
basically.
we're all hardcore gamers, Sean, and you have to
cheers.
explain that all the time because None of us use this. It's ridiculous, isn't it?
Well, no, I do because I play in so I'm.
Well, you're the 1%.
I'm the 1% because I play Into the Breach on my phone every day at the moment.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I won't bring it up on the show every week because it's a bit boring to talk about unless you also play the game. But it's incredible, and it just so happens to be a Netflix game. Yeah, I mean, there's other stuff on there. There's what's it called? Is it Before Your Eyes? Is it Before Your Eyes? You know the one where it's like a story game, but you control it by blinking.
Oh right, yeah, no, I've heard.
Apparently,
of this.
it's amazing. That's on there,
Yeah.
and of course, and you're like, oh yeah, because it's on my phone and it's got a camera on it, so that's set up.
Like,
to,
yeah, I can't imagine anyone. Yeah, do you know? I'm regretting right now. Sorry, this is a bit of a tangent. We'll go back to the story.
Mm-hmm.
I'm regretting right now that Matt's not on it, so that we can't have the Liverpool Crystal Palace score tick by as it reaches like the climax of the game at 1-1. And then people could see his reaction as that ticks over to the inevitable 2-1 to Liverpool. Yeah. Anyway, I mean, I don't think Netflix have anything too much to worry about with this. I think it's early stages for them, and it's nice to have it alongside the usual content they put out, and it's something they'll want to build. But even 1% of their subscribers is quite a big number, right? So
it's 1.7 million uses.
Yeah. My prediction is slightly less than that. I think that would be that would be where I'd go with that.
But then again, it's only 1.7 million engaged with it on a daily basis. Like that's a really
huge.
tall order.
I'll take that. I'll take that for us.
Yeah. And also, the games that have come out, they've been downloaded 23.3 million times. It's quite a lot.
Yeah, no, it's quite a
millions.
Quite a lot of those. Yeah, and also, I mean, they're saying there's going to be 50 more games by the end of the year. And I mean, they're also leaning into all those TV adaptations of games as well that they're doing. So
which is weird because they've not been the highlights. I know there's Stranger Things games and stuff. I don't think they're meant to be particularly good, but you would think that is where Netflix would be pushing. Whereas, as I say, I'm like, oh great, Into the Breach is on there, and like Wonderput Forever last year was brilliant. So there's stuff on there well worth playing, but none of it is particularly like, oh yeah, of course it makes sense that this is on the Netflix app, Yeah. And Chod in the chat has made the point that no one's had a notification on their phone, have they? I don't think, saying oh by the way, you've got games now, which surely is the most obvious thing to do.
Yeah.
But fair.
I mean, I'll tell you one thing. I'm much more likely to get into that than I am Apple Arcade because, as I mentioned a few weeks ago, I signed up for a free trial of Apple Arcade again because I was offered a new one. I looked at it, I was like, "There's fuck all on here that I want to play." You made a couple of suggestions.
It's dreadful now, isn't it?
You know that was it South of
the Circle.
South of the Circle. Started playing that. I thought this is wonderful, and then my phone felt like it was going to fucking explode.
Fair enough. I played it on iPad. I mean, what's interesting about South of the Circle is that's just come out on consoles and
everyone's raving about it. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if anyone's raving about it, but we got the press release about it, and it was brand new game, South of the Circle, coming out on consoles, and it was
but you would do though, isn't it?
But this is it. It's they're actually just not even acknowledging that it was on.
No, they won't in the PR stuff. So I mean, it's a new game.
Apple did the usual thing that they always do with this gaming stuff, is that they launch something and oh, this is great, and then just forget about it. And just leave it and nothing. And then what's really disappointing is also the way that there are so many games on there now that are clearly ones that were pay to win games where they've just removed those the payment from it but left all the mechanics in. And so it's just I don't know what's the point of this.
But that's what I'm saying. I think the iPhone it's so clearly not designed for gaming because as I said, just that game which it looked good, but fucking the heat that was coming off the back of that phone, I was like, this does not want to do this at all.
I mean, it's because it's an interesting one because it's it is a story focused, quite a cinematic game. So you do think well, why did they agree to put it on Apple Arcade? But again, it comes back to what we were saying earlier. It's probably just the deal they had to make to get it finished. It doesn't make a ton of sense, that game being on mobile platforms. Like it's something you could definitely enjoy a lot more on the telly.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I do want to play that. So you're saying that's out on Xbox and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I played that opening bit and I was like, holy shit, yeah, I can see why this is.
I think it's only like a tenner as well. I mean, it's not a long game; it's like 2-3 hours, but it's like it's a good film. It's
yeah. Okay.
What was the other? Sorry, there's one other thing I was gonna say, and I've forgotten what it is. So we could have just not said this. We could have just moved on, couldn't we?
I'm going to sit here until you work it out.
Yeah. No, it's fine. Let's crack on.
No, you really don't. You don't want to think back. I get that, and then when I look at something like I think the worst is when I think I'm looking at my phone and think I've got to do that, and then I forget what I was going to do, and then I think if I go back to the previous app I was on,
something will
triggers the memory.
Yeah.
It's so 100%. Bad, isn't it? Do you think I might need to speak to someone? Sure, is this a sign?
Oh no, I remembered. There we go.
There we go.
What was it called? Over the Alps. James, you played it eventually, didn't you?
I've heard of this.
This sort of choose your own adventure spy one, the World War II one.
Mm-hmm.
That was really good, and that was another like big like Apple Arcade one that was part of that initial sort of wave of like, holy shit, look at all these cool and interesting games, and they were supposed to do like 3 extra chapters for it. They were releasing for free, and they did the first 2, and the third one has been sort of supposedly on its way for a long time. And the other day, the developers announced that it's now not happening, and also the game is not going to be on Apple Arcade anymore.
Oh no! See, I knew it wasn't. They were removing it from Apple Arcade, but I didn't know that they'd also cancelled the 3rd chapter.
Yeah,
that's a massive shame. Because
you do wonder, is this one of? I mean, they haven't said this. This is purely guesswork from me. Or an estimate, or a guesstimate, you could call it, I suppose. But it's the timing of them announcing that the new chapter isn't coming out, and it's coming off Apple Arcade does suggest to me that Apple said, we're not paying for you to do the 3rd chapter anymore.
Mm-hmm. Oh mate,
because we did hear about that. Like, I mean, what was it? About a year ago, possibly more than that. That Apple were just sort of cutting like in progress games left, right, and centre, weren't they? Because they were basically like, we want puzzle stuff, we don't want story stuff anymore. Hey ho, bit shit.
Right, is that it for the news?
That is it. Yeah.
Well, should we get to what we've been playing then?
Yeah.
Yes.
Go on
then.
then.
Let's do it. James Farley. Should I go first?
Well, yeah, you had the week off, didn't you?
Okay.
I did. What was that, James? Oh,
I never go first. It's like it's.
All right. Well, I've got. I've got to tell you. So, I would like to tell you that I have finished PowerWash Sim.
Oh my goodness.
I'm just gonna send a warning text. Calling in a bit. You'll find out in a little bit why I've sent that. So I finally finished PowerWash Sim. Guess how long it took me?
Go on.
48 hours.
Ooh, because we had the feedback last week. Someone was saying it took them 45. So
yeah,
that's about
48 hours of playing. Yeah, some of that was probably paused and stuff, but 48 hours of doing this thing. And do you know what? It has this thing at the end. Turn off if you don't want to hear what the spoiler is of what happens at the end. But it's pretty obvious that it goes to the credits and it shows the credits and then it shows you the time lapses of all the levels you've been through. And I guess you're supposed to go, oh yeah, I remember that one. Oh yeah, that, yeah. I didn't. I sat there and I went, fucking hell.
You see, yeah, because I've heard of people saying they got like genuinely like a bit emotional at the ending.
No, they didn't.
Yeah.
Oh my god, there's a bit in it that made me like want to vomit. and then watching all of it, this is like, it's like a big like long thing of here's how you wasted your fucking life. here's how you spent your time. What is the matter with you? The last level, again, turn off if you don't want to hear it. The last level. Oh, okay. People are kicking off in the chat because I finished it without them. Right. Let me explain. Let me explain what happened. It was a Thursday. Sean was streaming. Friday, James was streaming. I couldn't play anything else until I completed this game. I'm not waiting 3 days to finish off that level that was half done anyway, just so I can do it on stream. It's not happening. It's not worth it. We make about £8 when we stream. I'm not. It's not worth £8, mate. I'm going to do it off stream. I'm going to finish it.
Yeah.
Honestly, just almost killed me that game. I mean, so the last level was a was a pyramid, right? And you have to do the outside and the inside, including all of the pillars, all of the statue, whatever. I remember cleaning one face of the pyramid, and it's saying like, "You are 3% done," and I'm just like, "Fuck you, seriously." Then it does some weird stuff at the end. It's got like I don't know. It's got like this weird. I don't know what happened. Do you want to know?
Yeah, I'm not going to play it.
How do you finish a game like this?
Yeah, I'm never going to play it.
And those that play it, I'm sure they don't really give a shit anyway. But you sort of just open the back of your van and there's like some cats in there. And I'm like, all right, I guess that's what we're doing, is it? I mean,
hang on. You got to power wash the cats.
No, you don't power wash the cats. The cats are clean. and then the credits roll. And and as I said, the time lapse stuff. I'll tell you what is weird is that when you do see those models of the stuff that you clean like in the past again, you're like, oh my god, I remember exactly what I was listening to while this was going on. I listened. I remember the albums that I was listening to, the podcasts that I was listening to. There's a fucking brilliant podcast that I've been listening to recently. I've been recommending it quite a bit, but 22 Grand Pod. And if you were ever listening to British rock music during 2003 to say 2009, so I mean the reference in the title of that podcast is referring to a band called The Rakes, who I absolutely adored. If you were ever into that period of music, then check out that podcast, because it's just interviews with these bands that never really saw the light of day. Really, they lasted about a year, played a big slot at Reading Festival, and then went away forever. It's like loads of interviews with those bands. It's really, really, really good. But I was like, I was seeing myself clean that boat again, or like in time lapse video, going, I know exactly who was talking during this bit. It's so fucking bizarre. So yeah, I'm kind of like really hoping Matt tries it properly, because I just know I need someone else to go through it. I think I need someone else to go through this. James isn't gonna.
No, I'm playing Elden Ring now. There's no way
that's
gonna happen. So yeah,
and Sean's too got too much about him to put himself through that. But I did want to make a phone call, because I got a text from John Denton about how he finished the game tonight, and he sent me a text to tell me, and I wanted you to hear his story. So he won't be able to hear you, James and Sean, but you'll be able to hear him. Are you ready?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, let's go. Let's see what John Denton's got to say. Here we go. Is he not going to pick up now?
Hello?
That was 5 minutes, okay? I did give you exactly 5 minutes then, so I'm just...
Worked out.
Okay. So we're talking about my experience with PowerWash Simulator, and how... Oh, right, okay, no, well, tell me what you told me just before we started recording, about how you completed it.
Well, I mean, all right, well, I'll tell you exactly what happened. So how many hours did you put into this game, Dave?
I put in 53. Hold on, bear with me 1 second, because it's not quite... Hold on, the audio's not quite coming through. Can you say that again?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
How many hours did you put into the game, Dave?
53, 54?
So let's assume that I put in the same 53 hours. The last level, as you know, Big Pyramid, probably takes maybe 2.5 hours, maybe even more.
Yeah.
You've got to do all the outside, all the inside, the bottom floor, top floor, and then there's this great bit, because there's a hole in the top floor when you're trying to do the roof at the top. You just keep falling through the hole and have to go back up. So
yeah, you do that. Yeah, I did that.
You get right at the end, and then a little gem pops out. Spoilers for PowerWash. A little gem pops out the top, and then you go and give that a wash, and it went job complete, like every other level. And you'd already told me this was the last level. I was like, thank God, I've wasted so many hours of my life playing this sodding game. when you know how it is, job complete, you press start to bring up the little video that plays.
Yeah.
Pressing start, nothing's happening. Pressing start, nothing's happening. I can still walk around, and I notice that there's one little bar that's still not quite finished. The tiny little sliver of one of those bars, which means you've not quite finished it. But I can't shoot any water anymore. So I'm like, oh no, this isn't good. This isn't good at all. But PowerWash Simulator has been very good with the save game state. I'll just reset the game. It'll probably just either put me right back to where I was just before I finished it, or it'll load me up and I'll have finished it. No problem. Load the game back up. It's put me back to the beginning of the pyramid, Dave.
Oh,
beginning of the pyramid.
No.
50 hours. All I wanted, Dave, from about 20 hours in, was that final moment where I finally fucking cleaned every last bit of black crap off this world, and I can't even have that. I can't even have that. It's taken that from me, Dave.
Man alive.
Fucking hell.
Jesus.
Delete it.
I don't know what I would have done if that was me. I think I would have cried. I think I would have cried.
I mean, I just immediately deleted it. I
do you want to know what happens?
Yeah, well, I was probably going to look it up on YouTube or something.
Yeah, well,
go ahead.
I've already.
Can I ask a question, Dave?
James has got a question. Sorry, you can't hear him, but yeah, go on, James. What's your question? I'll pass it on.
Definitely not going to go back to this then.
Oh, he's saying it. Are you definitely not going to go back to it? He doesn't know you well enough, does he, John?
No, it's done. We're done. The relationship is over. New best friend.
Oh, man, I couldn't do that.
Or Dusk falls.
James, what are you talking about? You couldn't do that. I mean,
I couldn't.
What, you would literally do that same level again for 3 hours? Would you?
100%.
Right? Okay, right. James is insane. Yeah.
Would
So.
it happen again?
Yeah. What? Yeah. What if it happened again, James?
Yeah. Well, no, it wouldn't. Hopefully, it wouldn't. But
Hopefully it wouldn't. James Farley. Right, okay, so here's what happens at the end, John. It's
You won't
unbelievable.
put curtains out for 6 months.
Here's what happens, right? You get a first person view of yourself. You open the van, right?
A third person view.
First person view of yourself, like the normal view, but you're not controlling it.
Yeah.
It's like a cutscene. You open the back of your van. There's some cat. There's a cat. Or maybe cat. No, that's it. There's a cat in your van, and it's given birth to kittens.
Right.
What? Why would they do it? Was there references to cats throughout the game?
I mean, I wasn't paying any attention to any of that bollocks.
No. So I mean, that took me by surprise. So that happens, and then it shows you all of your time lapse videos in one hit as the credits roll. That's it.
Okay. So
Right.
I don't even get to see, even if I watch it on YouTube, I have to see someone else's time-lapse video.
You have to see someone
Right,
else's time lapse video.
Cheers, PowerWash Simulator. Fucking dopamine factory hellhole that I spent the last 50 hours of my life in.
And not only that, right? I watched that time lapse stuff, and I weren't like, oh my god, this is so cool. I was like, fuck, what the fuck have I done? Why have I done this?
It's just your life wasting away in front of you. It's like when you get a Facebook memory, except not positive or nice or nostalgic. Just really depressing.
Yeah, could you imagine if you had like a camera in your front room every day, and it's just me playing Rocket League every day, just a photo of that, and every day I log into Facebook and it's like, here's what you did last year and the year before and the year before that, exactly the same, just slightly plumper.
Slightly much fatter in my case and much worse posture over time lapse. As my core strength just disappears and I slump over to one side. Brilliant.
Well, thanks for sharing your torture with us, John.
Pleasure.
I'll speak to you soon.
See ya.
Oh, my. Ouch.
Yeah, that is
the most depressing
excruciating.
thing.
But fair play to him for just deleting it and
Yeah, I
looking
know.
back. I
I know.
respect that.
So that's PowerWash Sim. We're not talking about that again till probably December.
No.
The other game I've been playing is As Dusk Falls. Have you played this, Sean?
Yeah, I finished it.
Have you?
Yeah.
Oh, right. I don't. James, have you played it?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, we
Are
did
you
talk
serious?
about it on the
We've
show.
talked about it like
No, I'm not mucking about.
Okay.
In fact, actually, I listened to you guys talking about it this morning. Actually, I listened back to because this is the other thing, right? I don't say this enough. I don't think we say this enough, but we have changed what we're doing with YouTube at the moment. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We don't. I know it's such a shit thing to say, but please do subscribe to it because not only are we doing the video stuff is going on there now, so you can watch the podcast on YouTube, but more importantly, we're breaking down the reviews, the chats we have about each game. And it honestly, it was brilliant for me because I was like, I want to listen to them talking about PowerWash Sim. Boom! I listened back to not PowerWash, fucking hell, As Dusk Falls, and I got to listen to what you had to say about that game. And it's funny because pretty much everything you said was correct. Obviously, there was a few sort of emotional reactions that I think that you both sort of disagreed on as well, and so did I. Like stuff about whether you were rooting for someone. And it's funny. You mentioned, Sean, that you kind of felt like it was kind of freeing. Oh, this is my interpretation of it. Sorry, this isn't what you said, but it feels kind of freeing that I wasn't seeing any of the characters as what would I do.
Yeah, none of them were me. They were just
it was very much role playing. Like, what would that character do? Like there's. Let's talk about the younger brother, right? The younger brother's a big character in this, and throughout that, I was like, I can see what they're driving at here. That actually he's more of a blank,
you can actually go
canvas
either way,
than, but really he's not, and that's not how I saw that character. So I was quite freely like making decisions that I wouldn't make if I was playing the game as what would I do? Like, I wasn't playing it like Mass Effect. And I love that. I really love that because it really felt like I was building characters rather than just trying to project my moral choices onto the game. And there was one character that I was doing that with, but dead. So so that stopped. But you're essentially controlling so many characters in this. Because you are, aren't you? You do control various different characters.
3?
Really? Is it only 3? Because it feels like you're controlling everyone.
I know what you mean.
That's mad, isn't it? If it's just 3.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. But yeah, I mean, it takes what I love about narrative-driven moral choice games. And branching narrative games, I think, is probably the right way of putting it in this. Because I really don't like that screen at the end of it, where it's like, here's what I think. No, I don't like that either.
It's like Detroit did that as well, and it was always just kind of. I know exactly what I mean because see, when I play these games, I like to feel like this was my playthrough. This is my story.
But you're thinking of two different things. You're thinking of I'm making a point about one screen. You're making a point about another. So let's do. I'm making about a point about where it comes up at the end of it and says, you have strong family values.
Oh, this one. Yeah.
You have them. And I'm sitting there going, no, I don't. That doesn't reflect me at all. That reflects the character that I was playing as. That doesn't reflect me.
Yeah, because what happens inevitably, and I think this is probably what happens to most people, is by the end of all 6 chapters, you're probably getting like different results for each chapter because they're different people, different situations.
Yeah, for sure.
So sometimes my big thing was honesty, sometimes it was loyalty, sometimes it was family, and it's just like. Yeah, it's because I'm being pragmatic and I'm playing different characters.
I wish they would have got rid of that. And also, James, I do totally agree with you. With that other screen where it shows you all the branches that you could have done. Show me that at the end. Let me get through the game before you start showing me that stuff because I don't think you need to know it at that point.
I don't know because I really enjoyed like starting a chapter and then like. So yeah, and then by the time I'd finished it, and then looking at it and being like, oh shit, so the place I started from was already different from other potential playthroughs. I don't know, I found that interesting. But I know what you mean. There's a sort of an inbuilt like, oh well, here's everything you could or perhaps should have done. Like,
see, for me, it takes me out the story and it just makes you feel like it's sort of like this is what you could have done and all that kind of thing. It's
and also it makes it feel way more mechanical as well, doesn't it? It's like here are the bits where it goes off in different directions, and I suppose what I've always loved about these games is getting to the end and ringing a mate and saying what happened in yours, because it's so wildly different, the outcomes that when it's done right, the outcomes are so wildly different that it's exciting. It's like I cannot believe you ended up doing that and this is what happened and this was the result.
That other screen that you were talking about, Dave, the one where it tells you like who you are and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Is that not in there primarily for streamers though as well, and for people that are playing as groups and things like that?
Yeah, because
I don't know what that means. Why? How do you mean?
Well, no, because then it's like you're playing it, and because if you play it as a stream, you can also get like interaction from the chat as well, like through the game. Like you can have decisions made and everything, and whether that's to sort of like create a sort of a feeling of like this is what the chat is, this is what you are, or whatever.
Nah,
like, through that.
I don't see that. I don't get how.
Sorry, I was going to say, I don't know if we've mentioned this on the show, but yeah, I'm really intrigued about the idea of doing a stream where I don't do anything. I just let the chat make all the decisions.
It doesn't do anything. I mean, I would watch that with you.
I think that would be really funny.
I
mean, it'd be horrific. Like you'd have to watch it with zero attachment to anything that was going on, because I think people would just try and fuck with it, right?
Oh man, maybe. Could we do that as a co-stream? Like I would sit and watch that with you.
I'm pretty sure we can do that as a co-stream, yeah. Because essentially we would set it up as a multiplayer game, which you can do anyway. Yeah. And then also enable the Twitch stuff. I think.
Yeah, but I wonder how that would work in my setup. Well, we'll talk about it. Yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
It's
what's that?
Match pick for Le Tournoi.
Yeah.
Who survived to the end of the game?
I think regarding the art style, I see your point and I agree with you. I still would rather it be fully animated. Like it's still, I don't like the style. I think I get the advantages of doing that way, but my hope would be let's not continue to do it that way. Let's improve animation where it actually looks like probably good. Because there are moments where you're just kind of thinking, I kind of feel detached from the character design and the voice, which is, I'm assuming they're the actual actors, right?
All of them apart from the main fella at the start. So he's the only one who was voiced by. So he was voiced by a guy called Elias Tufexis, who played your main lad in the last two Deus Ex games. He has like a really distinctive, gravelly voice. But
it just for me there was a disconnect there between the voice and what I was seeing for most of the characters, even though, as I say, that they're played by the same people.
Fun fact. So all the other characters, not a single one of them is American. They're all British.
Oh really?
Yeah, the young lad, he's Geordie.
Okay, and it pains me to bring up any negatives really, because it's incredible. Like it's incredible. It's gripping. It's exciting. It's interesting. The relationships and as you say, there are these little changes and surprises and twists throughout. Just little drops of narrative being sprinkled across each episode to keep you interested. And more importantly, it's just distilled into make a decision. Doing I'm worried about doing a spoiler show on this.
Yeah.
Well, did you take any notes?
No.
Did you, James?
No.
Matt didn't, and I started taking notes and said, I'm not taking notes out of this.
Well, yeah, because when have you got time to? Yeah.
It just destroy it. Destroy it. Yeah. It destroyed my experience. It was killing my experience because I had to keep pausing and writing stuff and then unpausing, and there were times where I was like trying to write notes without pausing, and the pad would rumble, and I'd be like, "Fuck, I've got to do this bit now." When the QTEs were coming up. The QTEs are strange as well, aren't they? I mean, you didn't really speak about them. They're piss easy to complete.
Yeah, I didn't fail any of them.
There's clearly a hey, you don't need to do. I mean, I failed a few of them because I chose to fail them.
Oh, really?
Oh, absolutely. There were ones where I was like, no, I'm not going to do that, so I didn't do it, and then I saw the consequences of that. But but I think it was playing for that in a few of these things where like, if you didn't want to, it's all I'll say is that, I mean, you got to play it. If you're into narrative games, it's removing all the stuff that you don't like about those games and like seeing how well that sort of picks up the pace is pretty stunning. Like it's pretty mind blowing how the sort of hour per chapter just like breezes past and you're not even thinking about it. It's really, really good. Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of my favourite games of the year so far. I'm halfway through the penultimate chapter, so I'll have that finished up pretty soon.
I thought you had.
No. I've got one more chapter and to finish off the current one that I'm on. But
I'm fascinated to see how you went. How you feel about the ending.
I'm fascinated to see what the ending is because I don't know where the story goes from where I'm at now. Like I don't know how it can. It feels like everyone's story is finished. So I can't wait to see what this last chapter is. It's going to be really exciting. But yeah. I mean, I can't wait to talk to you guys about it because I've definitely made some shit decisions, and I maybe say I want to hint at something that's happened in mine, and I want to just gauge a reaction because it's either going to be what, or it's going to be a. Yeah, no, it's fine, Dave. Everyone's.
Maybe what we could do is instead of doing like a full-on spoiler cast thing, we could like tack on to the end of an episode or something, just like have a chat about it.
I don't know. I was thinking about that today. I think maybe we do a spoiler cast and we just try and bumble our way through it without notes.
I think if we've all got our, the whole
Screenshot
chart with all our
of the
decisions
stuff,
and stuff, I think that's
we might
probably
be able
enough
to
to
do
go.
that.
Right? But we'll see.
Okay, all right. That's me. So, James.
Yeah.
Sorry, Sean. I know you don't like going last.
It's all right, mate. It's fine. I know James also doesn't like going last, and he was robbed of pole position, so it's fine.
Go on then.
Yeah, so I mean, I played 3 things this week mostly. I mean, I played Cuphead: The Delicious Last Course because I finished the main game, and then I was going to take a break and thought, okay, I'm going to do this DLC later. But I ended up, it was £6, and I ended up buying it, and then I beat it in like about 2 or 3 days, like because it's not very long at all. There's only like there's like these parry challenges that you can do, and then there's also like these bosses, but the bosses they're really not as inventive as in the main game. Like I didn't feel, and they're not. I wouldn't say they're significantly more difficult. But then I think part of the reason for the fact that I got through it so quickly is because I was still on a high from the main game, and so my skills were still at that level where it was like not really so much of a challenge. But it's definitely worth it, even though it is really just more of the same. But the additional character, they had this like extra character who has like a slightly different move set, which is weird because it does this parrying system whereby she like flies forward rather than bouncing off stuff. But it's good. It's absolutely worth playing. I mean, Dave, you were talking. I mean, we talked privately about like a stream for this or whatever, and I think this would be quite good, I think, for a stream. And then also, I mean, I could always come in and join you as well anytime because you can play like 2-player and stuff like that.
Oh, your help.
And fine. It's but it's up there with like Dark Souls for me in terms of like just the enjoyment I got out of beating bosses. It was really good.
I mean, it's a game that I've always wanted to play simply because I love the style of the thing. I just love how it looks. I love how it sounds. As I said, I've done like 3 or 4 levels. And I absolutely adored it. So yeah, it's something that I need to play for sure.
Yeah, absolutely excellent, and definitely worth it. The other thing that I've really got into has been Elden Ring again because I restarted this about 2 weeks ago, and I changed like the character. Yeah, I went straight from the beginning.
Yeah, he said he was going to do that because he didn't even get to first boss, did you?
I got to. Is it Margit? Is the first
Margit? Yeah, but you didn't beat it.
I got to that and didn't beat it, and was just like, this is. I don't know. I didn't feel like I'd chosen very well. Like,
can we have a guess to see where you are?
Okay.
Okay, I reckon the castle. What is it called? What's the castle with that guy in it?
You're gonna have to be a bit more specific.
No, not the second castle.
The second big boss. I forget his name. Oh, Godric the Grafted. Is that what?
Godric the Grafted. I bet you're up to that.
I've beaten that.
Ooh.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Have you beaten Have you beaten a lady with the girls?
No, I've not done
that.
Right,
okay, fine.
So, I mean, I've put just over 10 hours or so into it so far with this new character, and I've got
fucking hell.
What?
You've made that in 12 hours.
Yeah, some good progress, mate.
That is fucking mad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you following guides and stuff? It's fine if you are. I'm not.
Yeah, I've used a couple of guides.
Yeah, but I did about like 25 hours of exploring that first area before I'd even bothered going anywhere else.
I think that's the thing, because I've not done a huge amount of exploring, like especially like in Limgrave. I mean, I've beaten a couple of the other bosses there. Like I've done Tree Sentinel, the Death.
You're Matt Murray on Red Dead Redemption 2, right now.
Yeah, basically.
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah. And I did like the Flying Dragon and stuff, but I've gone back now and I'm kind of exploring a bit more around Limgrave.
Man. Do that. Yeah. Just do that. Like, go back to that opening area and just ride about, because you'll love it.
This is what I've been doing, because I've been opening the map up, because I've been going all over the place and like finding the map pieces for the different areas and just like opening things up a bit. And
so good.
It's incredible. And
have you found the underground yet?
Yes, I mean that's
oh my God.
I think that's where I'm at now. Is that the bit where you go down like through, like there's a massive lift that just goes down forever?
Yeah.
That's the bit I'm on at the moment.
So good.
Because I just got to that, and this is what is weird though, because after I beat the castle, because I really loved the castle, like I really loved it, because it felt to me like proper Dark Souls, basically.
Yeah.
That's why it works, because it's that flipping between like the open world stuff and then finding an area that's like, oh yeah, this is a Dark Souls bit.
A Dark Souls level.
Like it's yeah.
Well, what's really cool with that as well is that they've got little micro Dark Souls bits as well.
Yeah,
like,
dungeons.
What was the castle with the lady outside that was like, my dad's up there?
Oh fuck! I know the one you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got really it's like Castle Curious or something. It's like a real weird name. I mean, someone in the chat will point out what it is, but it's got these little micro castles that take probably about 20 to 30 minutes to beat, and there's a boss at the end of it, and you beat the boss, and you're like, I've done a Dark Souls bit. Like it's so genius, that stuff. It kind of having all that shit in between the big smacking your head against the brick wall stuff is just so perfect. It works so well, and it keeps you playing.
And that's what's happened with this, because you see, I like in Limgrave, I got stuck on. I was trying to do the Crucible Knight. Do you know that one?
I don't know the Crucible Knight. Do you?
It's super annoying, because he's really strong, and like really like repeated slashes, and it's really difficult to like get any hits in, because he's got like 100% like against like physical like defense.
Right.
And my character is I always play as like with swords and shield and stuff like that, so it's really, really difficult. So I was just like, I'm not feeling this at the moment. I'm gonna have to go back to this later, to something else. And then just go off and explore somewhere else. And that's what I've been enjoying doing, is just like going around the map, like literally just going around and just finding things. And this is why at some point I'm thinking what I would like to do is, after I've done the quarry, I was going to play Dark Souls 3, but then I don't think I'm going to do that now. I think I might just play this and play this on stream, because what I'd like to do is, I know that I've picked up like a whole ton of stuff like while I've been playing this, that I don't really know what a lot of this stuff does, and all like the items and the systems and everything. And it may be that people can give some advice, on like what I should do with some of these items that I've got, because I really am not sure. Because that's the only thing that I've found difficult about this so far, is that it's just there are so many items and so many systems at play here that it's just like I'm not really sure if I'm taking full advantage of everything all the time.
I mean, I'm like, how many hours in did I get? I can't remember, like 70, 80, something like that. And yeah, my inventory's full of like weird little bombs and like oil for my swords or whatever, and I'm just never really engaged with that stuff. And I'm probably making the game harder for myself by not paying attention. But yeah,
Castle Morn,
was it?
That was the one. Yeah, go find that one. That's good.
Yeah. But it's just the addiction level is just really high with this though, because it's ridiculous, isn't it? It's just like how you just get drawn into this. And like last night, I couldn't sleep. I like woke up at like 3 a.m. And I was just like, I don't know what to do. Like I just stuck this on and I played it again, because I was just like, I'm not going to get to sleep. I might as well just play this until I've got to go to work.
I've had way too many late nights on it when I was really hammering it, and it's an awful one for doing that, because once you start feeling tired, like you're not going to be able to do any bosses. Because obviously, reaction, speed, perception, whatever starts going when you're knackered, and it's so you just end up getting annoyed at it. But again, it's as long as you've got that awareness to just be like, I should not do any bosses now. I should just go for
explore.
a wander and just
just try and like find stuff. It's brilliant.
What's the wildest thing you've come across so far?
I mean, the first attack by that bear was.
Yeah,
I've never seen that.
That's scripted.
I know the one, but that hasn't happened to me yet.
It's scripted. You go through in some rocks or whatever, and then one of the bad guys that's just standing around you kill him, and he sort of turns into this this huge bear sort of just drops on your head. That's horrible. That was horrible.
That and when the dragon first shows up as well in that open area is just like, oh, for fuck's sake.
I know what you're talking about. Have you heard any opera singing yet?
No.
That was my favourite. I think
that's a way off, I think, isn't it?
No, there's one of those in the opening area.
Oh, is there? Okay.
Yeah, there's a few of them.
Oh.
But the one in that sort of first area or whatever just creased me up because I was not expecting it, and when I found it, I was like, of course, you know what I mean. Like we all know how that ended up. I was like, yeah, okay. Loved it. I thought it was so good.
It's just the amount of we should stop talking because inevitably this is coming up in December, right? But it's the fact that it's got all your grim Dark Souls shit, but there is some of the genuinely some of the most beautiful stuff I've ever seen in a video game.
Oh god, yeah.
That just I can't. There's just bits I can't wait for you to see, James. And Matt's playing this again as well now, right?
Is he really?
I think so. On it, yeah. So.
Oh word.
But no, it's superb. So far from what I played, I'm looking forward to this is going to be my game now for a while. So I mean, I'm not going to talk about it every week because what's the point? Because it's just everyone talks about this to death. But it is so good. But I'm thinking, after I've done with the Quarry, which hopefully will be soon, that's going to be that. I think I might just play that on stream because I really enjoy it. It's really fun.
Other things. Please play other things too.
Oh yeah, I'll do that. There's some other stuff. So the other thing I played is Cult of the Lamb, which you've played as well, Sean.
I've seen a few people talk about this, yeah.
I mean, hopefully you can explain it better than I can because
I mean, how far in are you?
Played it probably for about an hour, I think.
Oh right, okay. So I've done the first boss.
So have I. So do you mean at the end of that?
No,
in the
first of the old gods.
Yes, I've done that one. Yeah, I did that just before we came on. Yeah, well, okay, a bit more than an hour. So, It was an hour. It was an hour on the train today, and then when I came back before we recorded, I played for about another half an hour. So an hour and a half. But it's something like that.
So yeah,
but I'm confused by the game. Honestly,
really?
Yeah, mostly. I mean, should we explain what it is?
Yes, then we should. So this is basically it's Animal Crossing meets Hades / Binding of Isaac, I guess. So it's it's a roguelite. Sort of run-based action game where you're doing. I mean, they're not technically dungeons, but they're dungeons. Going from room to room, killing enemies, getting items, getting upgrades and stuff. Kill a boss at the end, and then go back to town. And then the town is people keep saying Animal Crossing. Please don't go in expecting that because it's not. That's not what it is. But there's a bit of basically So you're this lamb, and as you might guess from the title, you're running a cult, right? You're trying to overthrow this sort of pantheon of gods who want you dead, basically. So you once you're back at your village, you're managing stuff you've got to keep everyone fed, you've got to keep everyone happy. So there's the basic sort of providing food and shelter, keeping people occupied, keeping everything clean, all that stuff. And there's the systems around that are all pretty light. You gather food stuff when you're out in the dungeons, and then go on. Sorry.
They are, but there's millions of them.
There is that. But then it's also the culty stuff as well, right? So as well as your villagers, or, cultists, all performing sort of manual tasks, they also worship you, and then they generate faith, which you then spend on new abilities and stuff, which again you then take into the dungeons to be better at killing stuff. So it's this sort of perfect sort of back and forth. You go into the dungeons, kill stuff, get items, go back to town, use those items, then get better things to kill stuff with. And you also
recruit people as well. When you save people say them in inverted commas, and then take them back, then they join your cult. and then you can set them off to, because when also you can, I mean, the people that you bring back, you can then like assign them tasks and stuff as well. Like, I want you to forage for this, or I want you to worship me, or that kind of stuff.
And then there's also like a bit of Frostpunk in there as well, in that because you're running this little town and you're basically crafting this fucked up religion as you go, right? So occasionally you get to like proclaim like a new law that's part of your religion, and again it's sort of, there'll be like a cultural implication of it, but then a gameplay one as well. So it's like, oh, do you want to teach everyone that like there's life after death, for example? And it's like, well, they won't be as sad when like another cultist dies, or do you want to teach them that being sacrificed is fucking great? Because then you can sacrifice people and no one will be upset.
But there's also grim stuff as well. With like, well, there's loads of grim stuff, but like the whole thing, like one of my villagers, or whatever you want to call them, died, and then it was like, what do you want to do with this? Do you want to bury it, or there's a lot of meat on this?
Yeah,
it's like it could be useful for that.
Because it is really tempting, and the option appears to be there to run like a fairly cheerful cult. Right, there's like far out that basically story-wise, I've sacrificed one person. It kind of forces you to do that to demonstrate the system. Beyond that, I don't think you have to necessarily. Like, you can basically just try and keep everyone happy. Like, you'll occasionally get people who start to dissent, right, and then you put them in the stocks, and then you read scripture to them every day until they get their head around the fact that you are correct and they shouldn't be giving you a hard time anymore. Which, maybe that's not brilliant. Or you can just, if someone starts kicking off and saying that, they don't believe in the cult anymore, then you can just sacrifice them. Big deal. But it's all done in, like, the art style. I feel like it's something that on paper I don't really like, because it's like, it's, what if something was creepy and cute at the same time? But I love the way it looks. Like, it's beautiful. It's all, it's like basically 2D sprites in a 3D space, right? Which is, in and of itself, is not new, but it's how dense like some of the areas are, like the little sort of surrounding, the surroundings for like each of the sort of area of the dungeons and stuff, and like the way some of the bosses look, like again, you can tell that they're made up of sprites, but it must be like fucking dozens of them, like just to create this one sort of believable sort of moving creature. Like the attention to detail is amazing. I'm really enjoying it. Like, I absolutely love this so far. And it's really nice to play a roguelite or like whatever, where like you feel like you've got loads of forward momentum like right off the bat, because it doesn't ask you to, obviously most roguelikes, it's like you start the game and you get as far as you can and then you die and then you go back. Whereas this is split up. So there's 4 like types of dungeon, one for each of these gods that you're trying to kill. And each one of those is like basically quite short, but you do it 4 times and then you fight like the actual final boss. So you'll do it once, you'll fight like a mini boss, and then it's back to town and everyone's like, hey, nice one, you did it. And you're like, yeah, I did. And I'll do it again in a minute, and then and again and again and again. And right, so there's none of that, like, even Hades, as incredible as it was, like any roguelite, had that thing of like, well, initially you're going to do runs that are just shit, and you're going to die and you're going to go back. Hades did a really good job of making that still sort of feel worthwhile. But it's just, I can't remember the last time I played one of these games where it's like, I feel like I am actively succeeding constantly. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It probably should get harder. Like, I'm not struggling like at all so far.
Nice to play games like that.
Well, yeah, that's it. Like,
change.
It's nice to play one of these games and feel sort of welcomed by it.
Especially a roguelite. I think that was that was something that I loved about Hades so much. It was kind of like, it was difficult, but it wasn't to the point where it was just like, oh, fuck this now. It always felt like you were making progression. But I do wonder what it'd be like if there was a roguelike game where difficulty just wasn't a thing, and it felt new ways to do progression rather than, hey, now you can get slightly further in this really, really difficult game.
I mean, this appears to be that so far.
That sounds really good to me.
Yeah.
But then also, I mean, the other thing that's nice about it as well is that, that I really like about it is each run that you do through one of the dungeons is only about 10 minutes or so.
Yeah.
They're quite short runs, you know, to like get through, which is good. But then also there's branching paths as well. Like when you go through one area and then it's like, okay, you then have a choice of, okay, do I want to do more combat or should I go to an area where I can pick up more items for my camp or whatever? Or maybe there's a shop there and I can buy stuff.
That sounds to me, that sounds like Minecraft Dungeons or...
Yeah,
that was Diablo. That was
there's a similarity
ripping off, wasn't it?
Yeah, to that kind of stuff. But then the only thing that I'm not enamored with this so far is the combat, because it doesn't feel like, you know, Hades felt really tight, like in terms of that, and so did Death's Door. Like both of those had excellent combat, like, and this to me does not feel as precise as that. And but then that may be because I'm not using the right weapons yet or whatever like that. But it doesn't feel quite as like as satisfying and sort of like, I don't know.
It's not always easy to tell when you're about to be hit.
Yes.
Enemies do flash when they're about to attack you, but depending on, you know, what colour they are, the colour of the environment, what time of day it is, you know, there's different lighting and stuff going on, or you know, how many enemies there are, whatever. Like, it's not always easy to read that. I would say.
And that's the thing, because as you said, like each of the areas is pretty visually dense. Like there's a lot of like cover, you know, there's a lot of stuff going on the screen, and so sometimes there's a lot of clutter as well, like stuff which can make it quite difficult in the sense that, you know, you can't see where things are coming in to come at you and stuff like that. But there are difficulty levels with this which are quite nice. You know, that it's not like you know, you have to play this on whatever the developer has decided is, you know, we're going to make this really hard for you or whatever. But then the only other thing that I said that I'm not so keen on at the moment is, just because I haven't got my head around all of the tons of systems it feels like it's throwing at me, like as soon as you know,
because there's some, in terms of like the upgrades that you get, there's like multiple ways, there's like different trees, isn't there? There's one that's like, so the faith, I think, mainly allows you to build new stuff in your town, whereas then there's the upgrades to your crown as well, and I think they're the upgrades that pertain to like items you'll find when you're out in the field. But yeah, initially you're just like, hang on, so what contributes to what, and what unlocks what, and
exactly.
It does become clear as you go on, I think.
And then also when you're playing the combat areas and then you like beat something, it'll come up and give you a choice of like what you want to pick up. But it's just an image, and you're like, I don't know what any of these do. Like, it doesn't tell me what these really are.
Do they just walk up to them and it gives you this summary?
No, you just not. I'm pretty certain it didn't do that for me. Like, I had to go up and press A, and then it was just like, okay, you've selected this one. It does this.
Like, you just shouted no, James, but Sean's doing a face.
No, it's possible that I've messed that up. I don't know.
Sean, has he messed it up? Do you think?
It sounds like something that would have annoyed me if it had happened to me, and I don't remember it happening. But I don't know.
It's possible that I was impatient and just ran over to them. So I need to.
They got furious about
go back and look. Yeah.
The only thing, and this isn't a complaint at all, it just seems like and all they've done is add an option, so I don't even know why I'm mentioning it, but when you get a new cultist, like you rescue someone and they come back to your town, you can like completely customize their appearance, like up to and including, because they're all like little animals, right? They're all cute little animals, and I don't know, I really like just letting each person be whatever they were when they showed up. I'm not just like, no, this one needs to be a pink horse, actually.
Well, exactly. That's exactly what I did. I'm just like, they're just whatever they are. I mean, they're ultimately disposable anyway.
Well, what if you could like just change them all into exactly the same thing? That's part of your cult, then, isn't it?
Yeah, I suppose.
I mean, I'm with you. I would just leave it as it is. I mean, who's got time to edit each fucking character?
Wear the same t-shirt.
So many of them.
It's fine.
They do all wear the same t-shirt.
Fair enough.
But yeah, I love this. I think it's well good. What are you playing on, James? Are you on Xbox or Switch?
Switch. Again, because then I can play it on the train.
Nice. No, I can see. I'm playing on Xbox. I totally see the value.
You're on Game Pass?
No.
What?
I know you got to buy it, Dave. With
How much is it?
21 quid, something like that.
Fuck yourself then.
Well, if
you're
is this one of the ones that
Sony paid for?
Yeah, probably. So let me guess: £20 on Xbox, PS5, £25 on Switch. Is that right? What's your name, James?
No, it's 21, I think, on Switch.
Oh, okay.
There you
I
go.
remember.
I might get on Switch, and I've been playing the Switch quite a bit recently, actually. But mainly just Lumines. Right. Are we done with this one?
Yeah, I think so.
Can I do something that we really don't do that often? Can I go to the toilet, please?
Oh no!
I know it ruins everything, doesn't it?
What are we gonna do on the?
Well, a little bit of bonus for the YouTubers.
Yeah.
If I do that, can I put my fan on for a second then?
What, Ben?
No, this.
Yeah, go for it. Might as well.
It's ridiculous. I'm sweating like it's horrible.
I've not even paid attention. What's the timestamp? I forgot I'm editing. I need to write these things down. 1:51.
That's why I can't have it on while we're recording.
Oh yeah, it's not. I mean, it's not offensive.
No, it's still loud enough that
It would, yeah. On the actual recording, that'd be a nightmare. But yeah, I don't know what to talk about now. We're not allowed to talk about games because then that's
No, it's true.
That's stuff that should go in the show.
Oh,
It's too hot, James.
it is too hot.
Did I see you putting shorts on?
I had to go and put some trousers on, yeah.
You put trousers on, why?
Yeah.
Why?
Because this chair that I'm sitting in is kind of like, I don't know, it's fake leather or whatever it is, but then, you just start to stick to it, and it's just incredibly uncomfortable.
Yeah. No,
so now I've got to wear some trousers.
No, I am fully trouserless.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's too oppressive. It's supposed to be nice today. Well, not nice. Yeah. I mean, it's supposed to be, the heat was supposed to lift. But yeah, no, not happening. Hello, Colin Ross Wilson. We're having a break because Dave's gone for a wee. Matt has died, as you can see. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's not feeling well, unfortunately, so he couldn't make it. And also because it was sort of last minute, so we haven't got a guest either. But yeah,
right, cheers for that.
That's all right, mate.
All right, we'll get straight back to it.
Cool.
Right, cool. All right, then, James, anything else?
That's it. I've got nothing else.
Sean.
Hello. I've got one other game. I mean, there's been a bunch of things I've played this week, but just like a bit of a lot of things. But one that is well worth talking about is, I'm going to pronounce it Ynglet, spelt with a Y. Ynglet. Ynglet. Don't know. This is a game from Niflas, who most famously did the Knit series. Like, if you play a lot of indie stuff, he's quite well known for doing those sort of like, exploration focused sort of Metroidvania games. But like, he did one called Knit Stories, which came with like a really comprehensive level editor. And it was it's one of the few times I've actually sort of enjoyed like tooling around with stuff like that and actually building my own levels and stuff. Did one as part of my university coursework. That's the sort of shit you can get away with when you go to an arts or an ex-poly arts university. But this is, I suppose it is a 2D platformer, but it's very odd because it controls as if it's like a top-down view, right? So you have this little sort of squid, right. And
it's you Flow.
Move. What?
Looks like Flow.
It does look a bit like Flow,
on a very superficial level.
Yeah,
it looks kind of like
and you're moving it around freely with the left stick, right? It goes whichever direction you point it in, but so you can move freely when you're inside an object. There's little squares, triangles, blocks, whatever dotted around, and you can move freely within those. But once you drift outside one of them, suddenly gravity is a thing, and you're being pulled down towards the bottom of the screen, right?
Right.
So it's this. Already it's sort of quite interesting because you're sort of moving around, but then you're sort of making sure you've got enough momentum to sort of essentially sort of jump between these shapes, right, without just falling off the bottom. One thing that's again, it's not that interesting, but for some reason it just felt really cool. Like any shape that you can just sit on any shape, and then like a little line draws around it, and that becomes your new save point. Like that's where you'll continue from. Which is great because it means
how do you mean?
So like basically, if you just rest on any shape, and like for like 2-3 seconds.
On the outside of it?
No, inside of any of the shapes.
Okay.
It then just goes, right, that's your new restart point. And
Okay,
so
that's
you can
cool.
sort of, if you want to, like, you can challenge yourself to not really use that, or you can, it'll take you a long time, but you can do it on every single shape if you wanted to. Yeah, it's just the way it just casually just throws in so many interesting ideas, like, so quickly. Like, every single level there'll be something that makes you go like, oh shit, okay. You do one level where it's like you sort of, there's like these lines dotted around, and then there'll be like a bit of it be like coloured, like glowing, it's like coloured yellow, right? And if your squid like touches it, you then get transported around on the line. And the sort of the ends of these lines like kind of look like a top-down view of a train station. And so like there are bits of it where it's like, oh, this is kind of like a map, but then other bits where it's just completely abstract and the shapes are just kind of doing whatever.
Right. Okay.
And then there's bits where there'll be like
How much of that do you reckon is actually played for? Do you reckon it is actually played for? Is it your
100%.
brain?
Yeah,
Right.
totally
Okay.
is. And then there's these like bars where some of them are blue, some of them are orange or whatever, and you bounce off them. The blue ones you bounce off, but the orange ones you only bounce off if you're dashing. So you unlock a dash like 2 or 3 levels in, where you press and hold the A button, point where you want to go, and it like dashes across. And so you get these sections that are a combination of these bars that you can bounce off, and you sort of having to think, right, if I need to dash to that one, bounce off that, and I need to not be dashing to hit this blue one. That'll bounce me in this direction. Then I need to fall sort of down here, dash again to hit this orange one. Just really fun, just figuring out these little routes. And because it's so generous about letting you retry stuff, you don't it's not too punishing either. I mean, it looks like the visual style is really sort of minimalist, but it works, and the sound design and the soundtrack is just gorgeous. Like it's all like generative, so it's sort of essentially making up the music as it goes along based on like things you're doing, where you're located, speed you're moving at, stuff like that. It's like £4. It's been out on Steam for a while. It's just landed on, I was going to say consoles. It's definitely on Xbox. I can't remember which of the others it's on.
Oh, really? I thought it was. I was just having a look. I thought it was PC only.
Yeah, so it's on consoles now. And I was gonna because I've got it on Steam, but as I always say, I'm a nightmare for actually just sitting down and playing PC stuff. So when I saw it was only £4 on the Xbox, I was like, fuck it, I'm buying it again. And it's just really, really good fun. Have a look.
Does look cool. Sorry, you might have mentioned it, but how long is it?
I don't know. I don't think it's very long. I mean, I've been sort of like rinsing each level as I'm doing it. I mean, I'm an hour in. I think it says I'm already sort of 30% in, something like that.
Okay, but still, well, for £4.
Exactly.
I thought you were going to say it's an hour long.
Yeah.
No, that's not bad.
Yeah. So yeah,
cool. All right,
really like it.
Xbox. Okay, and that's what we've been playing this week.
Sean,
should we get to the messages?
Yeah. Oh, actually, should we quickly, before I go to the other layout? I mean, I already have. Should we play the one that Dean sent us?
Yes. So this is a message we received in the week from a listener, Dean, who wanted to know. He had a video game, what he thought was a video game soundtrack stuck in his head, and he sent us a tiny little bit of it that was going in his head, like how he was interpreting it.
Yeah. And
asked if we could come up with it. We failed to do so.
Yeah.
So we're going to ask you to send your messages in to see if we can. What we're going to do is we're going to cut down the clip so it's just the bit where he's singing it, and then we will then play that alongside your suggestions to see if we actually come up with the answer. So give this a listen. Go on, Sean.
So for the Twitch audience, I'll just play the whole thing. But for the podcast, I'll trim it. But yeah.
Well, no, it's fine. No, for the podcast, leave it. I'll play the whole thing.
Yeah.
But for next week when we're comparing it to the suggestions,
I see. Sorry. Yeah.
We can then compare it. Right. Okay. Go on.
Okay. Oh shit! Hang on. No, people at home can't hear it. Fuck's sake.
Oh, right. Okay, no problem. We're going to have these technical hitches every now and then. Don't worry about it.
It's fine. It's all right.
Annie drop, please. I've got a tune stuck in my head, and it goes something like... I don't know how the rest of it goes, but it's something like that. And I think it's from a game, and I don't know what game. And it could be Mario, but I haven't played Mario in a long time, and I don't know what it is. Please help, please.
Okay.
Right. Apparently they can hear 2 of me now.
No, that's fine. That was just while I had to.
Okay, right. Yeah,
sorry.
Yeah, okay, all right. Don't read the chat. Trust the man. Right.
So, because my first guess was it was the Wii Wii shopping channel. Because I was thinking it was the
Yeah. And then
apparently it's not that. Apparently it's not that.
And then my suggestion was it was what do you call it? The Woolly's World.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because it had that sort of like, it just had that little sound. Yeah, it sounded like Woolly's World. But we were both wrong. Yep. So, listeners, if you know what that is, please let us know. Please send a message into tcgs.co/dear TCGS, because that's we want to get to the bottom of this.
Yep.
For Dean. Hashtag for Dean.
I did enjoy one of his mates in the replies just saying, "Dean, you need to come back into the office, mate."
Yeah, I saw that. That was good. Yeah, maybe we're making things worse.
Possibly.
But we'll see. We'll see. Should we get to the other messages?
Yeah, go on then. Where are they? Maria Mendieta. Sorry, if you want to send us a question, go to tcgs.co/dear TCGS. Maria Mendieta says, "Dear TCGS cohorts, Sean LeBeau sold me on Risk of Rain 2 by mentioning that the weapon you choose essentially determines the kind of game experience. How comfortable are you with choices like the dialogue in Guardians of the Galaxy dramatically conditioning gameplay? Keep up the terrific work."
I'm very comfortable with it.
Yeah.
Same here. Love that
like
stuff. Love that stuff. Guardians was a great one. I mean, I loved the chat about it last week, but Guardians was a great one. Where you know, the decisions you made in it weren't dramatically huge. You know, there were a few, but they weren't like, some of them were like, you know, do you want to be nice to this person? And if you're nice to them, you get a key card to get somewhere. You know, or you know, if you, and another one was like, do you want this upgrade to your ship or this upgrade to your ship? And one helps you in one way, but it always felt significant, and that was the difference. You not even significant, but you always see the results of it, and it didn't need to go, remember, because you did that. Remember, it never needed to do that. And
because in a lot of those cases, the decision meant something to you, but not like without thinking of like long-term consequences. Like like a decision bearing fruit like 5 hours later or whatever, you don't think, I'm smart because this is the outcome I predicted. It rarely is, but you had feelings about the decision.
It really
mattered,
did it? Yeah. I think that was one of the problems with the fact that, you know, the game that sort of set a lot of these rules and systems in place for narrative like stuff like this was, people are going to kill me because this is obviously games have been doing it for a while. But what changed the game is The Walking Dead, right? Yeah. And the reason that like that whole they will remember this, you know, this is the outcome of your actions and stuff like that. That changed the way that they try to present these branching storylines to the player. And I don't think that it's really needed, you know. It does it a lot in As Dusk Falls, and I didn't treat it as a criticism because that's what all the games do, you know. But there are moments where it's like, this is the outcome of the decision you made, and I'm like, I know you didn't need to tell me that.
Yeah, because like sometimes it can literally just be someone like mid conversation, someone going like, "Oh, and so's dead," and it's like, decision outcome, and it's like, I know,
you don't need to tell me that.
It also completely manipulates the way that you go forward as well. You know, with the way that you're playing the game, because you're waiting for the outcome, you know, for it, and it's like, you know, it's like Sean will remember this, and it's like, okay, wait for the moment when
where Sean remembers it, brings it back up. Yeah,
the best one for that was, do you remember, James, the one about the Iranian revolutions? Black Friday. Oh God, I can't remember what year it was. 1970...
Is it 1979?
It was 1979.
Yeah.
Maybe. Good game, but it never... Like, it kind of ends on a cliffhanger, and they never got any more funding, and you know, kind of, you can tell that they sort of struggle budget-wise anyway.
Yeah.
So, like, well worth playing, really important look at a bit of history that a lot of people aren't really familiar with. But literally right up until the very final cutscene, it's like, oh, so-and-so will remember this. And it's like, no, they won't.
Oh,
this was never going anywhere. This is the clearly this is ending here. There's no more game for them to have remembered this. So.
Yeah, no, get rid of that stuff, because Guardians shows you how exactly how that stuff should be done and dealt with, and it works so well.
I think there's an particularly with that As Dusk Falls. I think there is and I'm not having a go because I don't mind the chart at the end and stuff, but you do wonder if there's an element of them like basically flexing, right? Like them going like, look how intricate this web is, and we want you to know when your decisions have had an impact. Because to be fair, there are a lot of games that give you the illusion of choice, but actually it's not always a different outcome from it. So I think there's an element of them just wanting you to know that actually these things are
flexing's a good way of putting it for sure. Yeah. So what game was our game of the year last year? I can't remember.
It's Death's Door.
Oh, okay, yeah. Fair enough. Because I'm sitting here thinking, why wasn't Guardians of the Galaxy? Oh, because it was Death's Door. Of course it was.
Still a good question.
What a game.
I think
I don't know. Because when I heard you mention this, because you slipped in last week, James, like, why wasn't Guardians Game of the Year last year? Well, we're far away from playing it now to have forgotten the shit that happened in that game, especially the final third of it.
Yeah, the combat in it was the problem, wasn't it?
The combat was the problem, and also the fact that we had one of the best scripts, the best stories, the best cast. Voice acting was so on point. Writing was so on point. And the final third of it is just continuous combat.
Way too much. Yeah.
So why did you do that? Yeah. Like, you didn't need to do it. Yeah. But I suppose the people that made the combat wanted that to be the focal point at some point. Yeah, shame really, because that otherwise, that would have altered it. But whereas Death's Door, it was perfect all the way through, pretty much, wasn't it? Oh, it was obvious.
I think it's all coming back to me now. Like, what I really like is when games, like when you have a decision and it pays off in a certain way that you could not have predicted, but it isn't taking the piss out of you. Do you know what I mean? Like, a lot of games, that there might be like a moral choice, and people are like, there's the sort of the bad choice that might prevent further harm, but there's the good choice that maybe gives someone an extra chance, but they might fuck you over or whatever. Yeah. And it always pisses me off when it's like, haha, you shouldn't have done the good thing, actually, you idiot. I hate that sort of cynicism. But when games have decisions play out in ways that you couldn't have foreseen, but are true to, the spirit of the decision you made. There's, as Dusk Falls, there's what I can't say without spoiling it. There is one decision in that I thought was interesting, how it affected things. Again, in a way I couldn't have foreseen, but I was like, that makes sense, that those two events are tied together,
Shit, okay. Would I have known that by now? Could you talk to me about that yet?
Yeah, I think so. No, okay, cool. I can't. No, I can't remember what's in.
Fuck it out.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay. Good game, though. James, you are, mate.
Yeah, just hot and it's midnight.
It is. Well, not in real time.
It's 11 o'clock. Go on.
Just do another one. What have we got? Simon Moorcraft.
Yep.
Says, evening, lads. Having played Stray, I've started to notice cats more and more in my day-to-day life. Watching them and wondering what they're up to. And then he's done the... which emoji is that? Is it the sort of...
Yeah, it's the...
Wondering...
It's thinking about it one.
Yeah, it's a... Yeah, but it's the one... It's the emoji with the hand on the chin and looking up, right? Mm-hmm. But also, it's the best one to use sarcastically all the time. Just put at the end of it, yeah. Mm-hmm.
The question is, what was the last game you played that made you start looking at the real world differently and noticing things that you hadn't before?
Oh, we've heard this about 1 million times, this one, right?
No, but I was thinking about this, and I've got a different answer that I Okay, do you remember the? Okay, you won't. You will remember this because you ripped
All
the
right,
piss
you
out of me for
flip-flopped
it.
about 8 times in 2 seconds then. That was wild. It was like fucking, what was it, Tom Daly jumping off the high board? What a great... Yeah, come on.
That was such a shit joke.
I don't think it was. That was fucking... That come out of nowhere. Go on.
No, okay, do you remember Typewriter?
Oh,
Yeah.
fuck. Yep. Oh, you look at books differently now, do you?
No, it does. It did make me start to look at fonts differently. It's interesting.
It's interesting, the fonts.
It is. It's interesting. The fonts. What's wrong with that? I don't know why you're so anti-fonts. Like, what your problem is with this?
Because fonts aren't interesting, Jack.
They are. There's a whole like culture behind them that's really fascinating.
There's a whole culture behind everything. But that doesn't make it interesting.
It is because it's the communication. It's the way that. Oh,
fucking hell, fonts.
I thought our game was interesting.
I know you
I
did.
didn't finish it. I didn't finish it.
There we
I
go.
thought
I
it
was
was
that
good.
interested with it.
Would I probably have rather just watched a 10-minute Tom Scott video on YouTube about fonts? Probably. But I thought it was cool. What
it was an
tried to do.
interesting concept.
Yeah,
trying to do
yeah.
something interesting with it. So yeah,
It's
that made me
interesting.
notice stuff that I hadn't thought about so much before.
Mine's obviously PowerWash Simulator. I walk around now and just go, that bit's dirty. I need to. I want to get like a really tiny one for the bathroom because you can't have a full. Like, I just want to just like smash the bathroom to pieces with water.
Do you want to come round and do my patio one day, Dave?
Yeah, we could film it.
Yeah, it'd be good.
They'll do that. Why
you-
wouldn't you want to do it? I don't get it. If you've got a power washer,
Well, 'cause, I don't know, you sort of lose interest after you've done it quite a few times.
like twice, yeah.
It's the same patio.
What was it? There's another regular question that I was thinking about and gone, oh yeah, what was it? Right, so it was, so reading this, I think we've been asked this a million times, right?
Mhm.
And then I thought other questions we've been asked a million times that I've now got an answer for.
Mhm.
And that was the what have you genuinely learnt from a video game that has been helpful in your real life? Do you know what it is?
Go on.
James bought, when we moved into this place, James bought us a rice cooker,
Oh, yeah.
right? And the rice cooker, going by the manual, only does 2 cups worth of rice as the lowest amount. But sometimes it's only me that wants rice. I don't want to do 2 cups worth of rice. I want to do 1 cup's worth of rice. In Life is Strange True Colours, there's a bit in it where they walk past a rice cooker and she goes, 1 cup of rice, 2 cups of water. That's the rule, and it always works.
Yeah.
So I tried it, and it's perfect.
Absolutely fine.
I was like, yes. So that's my answer to that question. Sorry, Sean.
It's all right. I don't think I have an answer for this one. I've been trying to think.
Play some PowerWash Sim, and man,
Yeah.
completely blows your mind. Literally, I was on the tube the other day, and I was looking at the corners of the tube, going, "I need to blast that one. Get my yellow nozzle on that bad boy. My
Well, 'cause,
Trident."
Like the usual go-tos for this kind of question is like Jet Set Radio and Skate, right? And Tony Hawk.
Yeah,
and
Tony
start
Hawk, yeah.
Seeing lines, but obviously the question is, what's the last game you played that made you start looking at the real world differently? I don't think there's been one for a while. Actually, that it's not out yet, but I'm going to mispronounce it. But Shim, no, I can't remember how they pronounced it. But the one where you're the little guy jumping between the shadows. Because that was something I used to sort of visualize as a kid anyway, and since becoming aware of that game, like I'll do that sometimes when I'm out and about. Just imagine just looking at the shadows in an environment and thinking how I could like hop.
I thought you
around
meant
between them.
actually doing it.
No. I'd be demented. Right, final question comes from MD Krabuffs. He says, where do you see yourself in 5 years? James has already written his answer in. He says, still recording this podcast.
What do you mean, this particular
I think he means this episode.
This particular episode, yeah.
Rather than,
It's
rather
short.
than-
It's
rather
2
than it
hours,
being-
14 minutes.
Rather than being a display of James's faith in how long we're going to keep this show going in general, it's just him moaning about how late it is.
James, you take the fucking money, mate.
No, it's particularly hot tonight. It's particularly hot,
Mhm.
and it's uncomfortable.
It is
But you'll
uncomfortable.
still take that fucking money, mate.
I'm not allowed to complain. Is that what you're saying?
You could complain. I don't know. 5 years is not that long anymore, is it?
It's not.
Do you remember when you first started working and you would have, these assessments, yearly assessments or whatever,
Mm.
and you'd go, where would you like to be in 5 years' time? You think, fucking hell, man,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
ages away.
Yeah, am I
These
supposed to
days,
even know?
yeah, these days it's like, well, probably the same actually, because what the fuck can you do in 5
Well,
years?
because you almost, I think you kind of reach a point, and this is going to sound like I'm moaning. I'm really not. Like, you sort of reach a point in life where you're kind of like, I just sort of hope everything stays the same, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
I'm very happy to just keep ticking over at this point.
It'd be
no,
nice
don't
to
get me
not
wrong,
be going from precarious contract to precarious contract. In
5 years' time, I will have an 8-year-old and a 13-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
So,
that's gonna
I
be-
mean, I hope we have a garden.
I'm going to have a 17-year-old, like in 5 years'
Jesus
time.
Christ! And you just got to be, you'll be beating up boyfriends, aren't you, James?
I'm not
What are you
going
to be like with boyfriends?
I'm not looking for. I'm going to insist they call me Mr. Farley.
Of course you are. Of course
Not
you
Dr.
are.
Farley.
Fucking 80s dad. Of course he is.
What are your intentions with my daughter? Have you learned how to say that in German yet?
No, not yet, but I should. It's yeah. I'm not looking forward to it at all.
Yeah,
It's,
like, I mean, I don't know, man. 5 years time, I'll probably still be doing this and playing video games and watching. That's going to be a concern when Harry's like old enough to be up later than say 8, half 8 or whatever. So when am I going to get when he's going to bed later than Joe?
Yeah.
When do I get my video game time? That's on the horizon.
Time to record the show and stuff as well.
Well, the show I do in the bedroom anyway, so he can be out there. It doesn't really bother me. But my video game time, that's very precious to me, Sean. That's
But then
very
can he
precious.
not be more actively involved than before? Like, there's not going to be as many games that you can't play in front of him or
True. Yeah.
whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, but
yeah.
sometimes you just want a single player experience, whatever, don't you? And
Yeah,
like immerse
totally.
yourself into it, which you can't do when the kids are around.
It's weird because so the room I'm in now, which thanks to the pandemic and everything, has now become my sort of home office. My initial plan was when Isaac's old enough to have his own console and stuff, I'd be very happy to just put in a small sofa and a telly and stuff, and this can be his little games room, so that I keep the living room, crucially, and then so that we can.
Why wouldn't you do the other way round? I'd do the other way round.
Do you reckon? What, you'd have the little one?
Yeah. Give you. I'll go set up in my own little. I mean, I could. 100%.
Can Harry? Is Harry sharing a room? I guess with Charlie, is he? So
yes.
Right. So you couldn't just give him his own setup in there either.
They haven't even got a TV in there. They don't like spending any time in their bedroom.
Really?
No, neither do mine either. And this is why I play so many games either on Switch or via remote play or whatever. Because you just the TV's occupied most of the time, with other people. So
Yeah, no, they just like coming in, and that's what does my nutting. Like this Sunday, I was like, the football's going on. Charles was like, no, it's not. Yeah, it is, mate. No, and I went, do you not understand that when I was your age, if I dare turn around to my parents and say, no, I'm watching cartoons, you're not watching what you want to watch, it's just not even a question.
Yeah,
it'd be well, then you're not watching anything for the rest of the week then. So fucking hell.
We had this argument with Rachel because she comes in and she's just like, oh, you got the football on again. And I'm like, look, it's 90 minutes once or maybe twice a week. You can give me this. Yeah. Just let me.
There aren't many things that Dad has feelings about anymore. This is one of them. Just let me have it.
And get this, when I was a kid and my dad was doing this stuff, we didn't have little tiny screens in our pockets that we could just crack out and watch. We are old now. We're officially old. I'm done. James Farley, can we have the socials, please?
We can definitely have the socials. So this Thursday, we've got See a Friends. Is that happening, Sean?
Certainly
this week?
is. Yeah.
Have you going to reveal a guest or not?
Nah. I don't think I'm asking for one this week. But there's going to be a new. I guess the two main things that might happen. So the new adventure is going live on that day, which is the next bit of this ongoing story. And the other thing is I've got the Viva Pinata skin for my ship, and it's fucking amazing. So you all get to see that. So that's exciting, isn't it? I mean, or you could just Google an image of it, I suppose, if you wanted to.
Yeah, Google that.
So that'll be Thursday on Twitch. Then Friday, I'm going to be doing The Quarry, which hopefully I'm going to finish it. If
Do you still hate it?
I was going to say that last week you were
Yeah.
waiting for it to get good. You now
Yeah,
near
it
the
still
end,
hasn't
really?
got good.
Okay.
It still hasn't got good.
It's so weird because this one's meant to be good though, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think people would know what they're talking about.
Should we have a quick look and see who James has just criticised?
Yes, please do. Yeah. Is it anyone we know?
So while you're doing that,
See if Scrabbles reviewed it, please.
if you've got Twitch Prime, then you could also subscribe to our Twitch channel, which would be really nice. We certainly appreciate that.
You
And
can also subscribe to our Twitch channel if you haven't got Twitch Prime. You should highlight that as well, right?
you can do that, yes. But
Yeah.
that's another
Cash money.
another avenue that you can take.
Cash money.
There's also we have a Patreon as well, which is
Cash
at
money.
patreon.com/TCGS. And for anything
Cash
else,
money.
it's tcgs.co.
James,
So-
is it called The Quarry?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Well, it's not on Metacritic.
Well, it's called the Quarry.
Okay.
Cash money.
Let me have a look.
I'm not having this.
The Quarry.
Right,
It
I've
is called the Quarry. Have you spelt it wrong, Sean?
I know how to spell The Quarry.
Don't
Why
do
is
that.
it? When you search for it on Google as well, rather than just showing you the game, it's like, here's all your local quarries, mate, on a map.
Because I'm assuming quarries are more well known and googled than the game called The Quarry.
So, hang on. So is it quarry, comma, the?
No, it's just
Nope.
the Quarry.
Nope.
It's the first search term when I typed it in.
Metacritic, PlayStation, The Quarry. Yeah, what's going on?
What? Yeah, what am I getting wrong here?
Well, I don't know. Is
What's
it coming
happening?
up on the? Are you showing them
Right, I'm
your
gonna
screen?
hang on. Let me. All right, I'll show you all.
Oh, man, the
That I'm-
digital chumps gave it a 90%.
Did they?
Yeah.
Look, there we go. The Quarry. Enter. And it's all it's given me is "You Are the Quarry" by fucking Morrissey.
Hold on. Whoa.
Hang on, let's filter
Whoa.
it by games.
Fourth
No.
review down is from GamePro Germany. Someone's nicked your.
Oh, here we go. Found it.
Someone's stepping on your turf
Why
there,
is it?
James.
So why is it when I search for The Quarry and I filter it by games, what I'm getting Asteroid Quarry, I'm getting 3D Quarry Driver Parking Simulator, Thomas and Friends Quarry Find. What the fuck is it? And then eventually, about halfway down the
okay,
list,
Thomas
is
and
The
Friends
Quarry.
Quarry
And
Find.
apparently not enough people have reviewed it to get a Metascore.
There is
Surely
some
you-
terrible.
Do you Google quarries often? Like, is this just it's biasing your Google results?
Oh, I've been rumbled. Been rumbled.
Look, I don't want to be a prick.
Mm.
I'm not going to
You
be a
do.
prick.
Mm.
But some of these names for websites these days or whatever. Video chums.
Oh, yeah, sorry, yeah, Phil was found it. Hang on, let me copy that
Playzine.
link. Hang on, so what the fuck am I looking? This is absolutely bending my mind. Why am I, the one I found on Metacritic.com has not got any reviews on it? Right, here we go. Right, yeah, Digital Chumps, idiots apparently, Game Critics, idiots, Games Machine, idiots, GamePro Germany, idiots. James, you slagged off Keen Gamer.
I said they're wrong. I didn't call them idiots. I said they're wrong
Yeah.
about it being good. It's
No, you said
Videogamer.com.
they don't know what they're
Nailed it.
talking about.
Yeah.
Was the official thing.
Yeah, it's true.
Can we be done now?
Yeah, I want to go.
Thank you so much for living it. We will catch you next week with not a full lineup
Oh
either.
yeah, I'm off.
No, Sean.
On my
Sean's taking a
holidays.
break next week.
Yeah.
So Matt is running the show. That'll be fun, isn't it?
I was going to say don't be harsh, but then I remember the comment he made when it was announced that you and him were going to be off.
What
yeah,
was
it's
that?
true. Yeah,
And
yeah.
he's like, "Oh, that'll be interesting, then, won't it?"
Yeah, I forgot about that. That's fucking well harsh, isn't it?
But especially because based on the feedback we got, no, it won't be interesting.
We
No,
some people already
it's very
asking in the
good.
chat, who's the guest next week? Look, we done. I haven't even spoken about it yet. We're so fucking far behind. Matt and I have tried to catch up from being away and then being ill. So we'll work something out. Thank you so much for watching live. Thank you so much for listening on the podcast. Thank you so much for watching on YouTube. We will catch you next week. Thanks for living it. Good boy.
Bye.